Yeah. No. 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 Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shoot, wrong screen. What up, y'all? What up, man? What up? What up? What up?
Welcome back, Weedy.
Halloween, man. I guess that's why it ain't too many of y'all in here. Y'all probably out trick or treating or y'all partying. It is a Friday night. Y'all doing whatever y'all do. Just got done saving the city, you feel me? But we still gotta make shit shake, you know? How y'all feeling though, man? For the few in here, how y'all feeling? I see my bot. Well, it should be good. My chat bot been tweaking lately. It ain't saying it's entered the chat. But I'm sure it's, let me see if it's working. See, it ain't doing what it's supposed to do. Let me see. I don't know why it's been taking longer to show up lately for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it's been taking so much longer to show up. Y'all type in the chat and let me know. I'm trying to see if make sure this works. That the chat gonna show up on stream. Cause it did this shit earlier today where chat's not showing up. And I don't know why. I wonder if it was because I had switched. Man, this shit blowing me. I'm finna stop. I'm trying to integrate this shit with Twitch and all that shit. This shit kind of making stuff a little difficult. Okay, it was working on Twitch. Maybe it'll just take a second for YouTube to start working. That's annoying. But anyway, it's probably not gonna be a super long stream tonight, depending on how quick we get through the few videos I do have. Yeah, it just depends on how quick we get through it. Oh, he doing that in between shit. Yeah. So we're gonna get into it, man. So first, I usually love when Marc Lamont Hill is on Piers Morgan, so that's why I'm entertaining it today. Marc is gonna be on here. He usually don't hold back against Piers and whoever else he's going up against, and he's got Brian Tyler Cohen on his side, which is good. But they're going against Michael Knowles. The two people on the left is Brian Tyler Cohen, Marc Lamont Hill. The two people on the right. Thank you, Bob Ricks. You're here. And then you got Jack Posobiec and Michael Knowles from the right to have their conversation. The reason I love this is because Marc Lamont Hill is a savage and Michael Knowles is a fucking idiot. So I'm going to love to see them have a back and forth. Hopefully it happens if Piers doesn't jump in and try to save the day. Because even though Piers is a fucking idiot, he always is trying to save the people on the right. So it's always like unevenly matched. And no matter who he has stacked up in the freaking panel, it's always unevenly matched. Because one, he favors the right, and two, it's his show. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me bring in Marc Lamont Hill here. I just think it's one of those things where if you look at the history of presidents and what they've done to the White House as an edifice, 1829.
So they're talking about the ballroom. I don't want to start. Okay, let's just start from the beginning. Fuck it.
And Jad Posobiec, the host of Human Events. Well, welcome to all of you. Michael Knowles, I've been to the White House. It's a lovely building, amazing building, a bit like our number 10 Downing Street or Buckingham Palace. I've never paid much attention to the East Wing, but I have over the years heard grumblings that the White House generally doesn't have enough mass entertainment space, i.e. a big ballroom. So I'm trying to work myself into a lava of rage about this, and I'm coming up slightly short. Why is it winding so many people up that Trump is basically creating a space which was probably lacking?
Well, I'm really glad to see it, actually, Piers, because we finally identified.
I'm not saying he's supposed to care about the White House demolition thing. I don't know how big of a deal it is, but it's just I don't know of anything that Michael knows or a lot of these people will ever go against Trump on. It's like they don't go against him on anything. It's just so funny. Like, I'm not saying he has to for this, but when he asks him, like, how you feel? He's like, of course I love it. It's like, of course I love it. Oh, Trump just slapped your mom. Oh, yeah, she's a bitch anyway. Like, it's just be every single thing he does. They're with it.
One historic American structure that the left does not want to tear down. Of course, if it were a statue of George Washington or Abraham Lincoln or Christopher Columbus or...
That is funny, though. They're the ones that be against taking down historic things, but now Trump could just knock down a piece of the White House, but they're so mad when people want to get rid of statues of fucking Robert E. Lee and stuff like that. That's a problem, but Trump, go ahead and demolish a section of the White House. Just repaint the whole thing gold if you want to. Like...
historic church in Washington, D.C., then they would want to rip it to the ground or burn it. But because it is a relatively recent addition to the White House that has been used for various purposes over the years, now they're all up in a rage. But I can promise them, don't worry, that what is going to replace it is going to be bigger. It's going to be much, much more functional than what effectively had become a First Lady's professional quarters since the Carter administration. It's going to be really useful, really beautiful, really patriotic, so I'm sure they'll want to tear it down then.
Brian Tyler Cohen.
Piers just...
Do you care? And if so, why?
I care because this puts on full display where Trump's priorities are. If you look at where he actually...
That's a good line of attack. It's not really about changing the White House. It's like, why is this important with everything going on right now?
Puts his energy, his focus, his resources. It's on a $350 million ballroom. It's on buying a couple of Gulfstream jets for...
And that's what I'm saying. Like, look at what's happening in the world, and Michael knows, like, yeah, let's get the ballroom. It's going to be way better. Like, nigga, people is going to lose their fucking link.
$72 million. It's on hosting these crypto dinners where Trump has doubled his net worth. It's on gold plating his Oval Office. It's on making sure that he can get himself a Qatari jet that'll be retrofitted to the tune of $1 billion paid for by American taxpayers. This is where his priorities are. And all the while, we've got American farmers who are getting screwed right now. We've got Americans who are broad-based.
TJ, I had to, man. I don't know what I seen a little part, but I just know if Marc Lamont Hill is on here is going to be good. So
17 million of whom are going to lose access to Medicaid. We've got 24 million Americans who are going to see their ACA premiums double, triple, or quadruple. We've got inflation rising. We've got no manufacturing renaissance that was promised. We've got jobs completely flat. We've got wages flat. And all the while, Trump is only focused on surrounding himself with gold and opulence and wealth. And so it puts on full display what his priorities are in office.
I mean, he has got the hostages released in Gaza. So when you say it's a priority, why can a president of the United States not have multiple things that he's doing at the same time?
The government is shut down, bro. He's spending $350 million on the fucking ballroom.
The ballroom, I'm sure, is not to him a massive priority compared to trying to
he sure is doing it in the first year of his term as if it is.
Find peace around the world. But surely he can do two things at once.
Caroline Levitt came out just days ago and said that the ballroom is his priority. And again, the fact is that Donald Trump did not run solely on releasing the hostages. He had plenty of promises that he didn't. Where are the Epstein files? Those weren't released.
Right.
Spin, rock, flip, dip, ride, stroke, all that.
Where's
What
that
you just
free
said is a
IVF?
total lie. I'll
Where's
let you
the
get
free
away with some
IVF?
of the
That
other
wasn't released.
exaggerations, but what you just said about Caroline Leavitt is a total lie. The question was, is Trump looking at restoring or renovating any other aspects of the White House? And her response was, no, the
So let me-
ballroom is his priority. Not his
so let
priority
me
in
ask
the
you this,
country.
Michael.
His
So let me
priority
ask
is
you this,
reopening the
Michael.
government that the Democrats shut down.
Do you know why the government? Do you know why the government is shut down? Do you know why the
Because
Democrats
Hakeem
have
Jeffries and
this
Chuck
sticking
Schumer
point?
shut it down because Obamacare
So are
doesn't
you
work.
in
And they
favor?
Oh my God, the level of dishonesty is so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Because there's a conversation to be made if Brian took what Caroline said out of context to say like she wasn't saying it was the priority, but the ballroom is the priority as far as White House renovations. There's a conversation to be had, just like the same way they try to pretend like what's the one where they're exaggerating forgot. Like the Jimmy Kimmel thing. They was trying to say Jimmy Kimmel was trying to say that the shooter was MAGA when all he said was like it's like the worst faith interpretation to say, oh, he's trying to say it's MAGA when he's like all they're trying to do is trying to make sure that they're trying to make everybody think it's not one of theirs, whether it's true or not. The goal was to act like he wasn't. But there's a conversation to be had if Brian is being disingenuous. But the man said Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer shut it down. like that, like the Republicans don't have every part of government right now.
Do you know why the government is shut down? Do you know why the Democrats
Because Hakeem
have
Jeffries and
this
Chuck
sticking
Schumer
point?
shut it down because Obamacare
so are
doesn't
you
work.
in
Because Obamacare doesn't work. It's fucking little lip ass be. I can't stand Michael Knowles.
They want to give health care to illegals. That's why.
And then he's still lying about the health care to illegals.
First of all, that's a complete lie. There is not a dime of federal funding that goes toward undocumented immigrants. First of all. Second of all, if the Democrats relent on this issue, that means healthcare premiums for those 24 million Americans who rely on ACA coverage are going to double, triple, or quadruple. So are you in favor of that?
Right. I agree that Obamacare has not worked out very well, and I wish...
No, they need to stop with this. It didn't work out very well. This is Trump trying to get rid of the shit. They don't want to have it exist without replacing it with anything. This is ridiculous.
The Democrats had done a better job when they passed it.
So answer the question that I
President
asked,
Trump
though.
offered a clean continuing resolution, and they shut it down. And they shut it down, by the way, this gets back to your earlier point, because the Democrats are on the wrong side of virtually every issue in the country, other than health care, which they're barely holding on to, and environmental.
But health care is the...
Wait, so he said other than health care, meanwhile trying to shit on their goals with healthcare? Come on, bro.
Issue that the government is shut down
and they have
over
to
right
shut
now.
the government down to change the momentum.
That's crazy.
Healthcare
No
is
one
why
cares
the
about the
government is shut down right now. So I'm
ballroom,
gonna reiterate the question I asked you before. Do you think that Democrats should relent on holding this one issue forward, which is that if they don't do anything on ACA subsidies, that healthcare costs are going to double, triple, or quadruple? Do you agree that we should allow those costs to double, triple, or quadruple, and that Democrats should just allow the Republicans to do what they're trying to do, which is eliminate those subsidies?
The ACA is not a Republican law, my friend, and so I'm happy
Why
to
can't you answer
renegotiate
the question?
Obamacare. That would be
He
It's
can't
a really-
answer.
it's a really simple
These
question.
people can never answer a question straight up. Never can answer a question straight up.
I'm answering. I think it would be really good to fix Obamacare. We should do that. We shouldn't hold the government hostage.
You've had
We shouldn't
9
hold
years.
military
9
members
years
paid
we've been
hostage
waiting
for
for
this.
some change. We've been promised a new healthcare plan by Republicans
Since you
for 9
guys
years. We've
passed
got
it.
concepts of a plan. That's it. We've got
Some change
concepts of
from
a plan.
what, Brian?
Brian,
Some change from what?
Brian,
From
if I may jump in, Brian. Well, hang on, Brian. If I may jump in, you just spent the last 5 minutes talking about something other than the ballroom, having initially argued that this was Trump's priority.
But Trump isn't trying to fix this problem. What the fuck?
So I'm a little bit confused. If the ballroom's his priority, why are you moving the narrative so quickly to something else he's been doing?
He hasn't been doing it, Piers. What the hell are you talking about? Did he think about this question before he said anything? He's not doing anything about the health care. He's literally not doing anything.
What's the other thing he's been doing? I've been saying that what the Republicans are trying to do is not add those ACA subsidies, which would keep healthcare costs.
No,
where
I
they
get
are
it,
right
but you're
now.
talking about a totally different issue. I know, but you're talking about a totally different issue, which is the government shutdown. I made the point that Trump has also managed to get the hostages released in Gaza, that he's also trying to forge a deal to end the war in Ukraine. A president of the United States has a number of important things going on at any given time. The idea that the construction of a ballroom on the east wing of the White House is his top priority, I think
Piers just fucking diverted the whole conversation for what? Oh my God.
is very disingenuous. Now, does he think it needs a space for a new ballroom? Then, yeah, look, let me bring in Jack on this one. Jack, like I say, I've only been to the East Wing actually once, but it did strike me there is not
just
a big
diverted the
ballroom
whole
space.
fucking conversation.
So if there needs to be one, why not have one?
Yeah, and I think that clearly, he's doing it in typical Trump fashion, right? Where I don't think people realized quite how
I think he said
extensive this was going to be, and I think that's why. He's doing it in typical Trump fashion, right? Where I don't think people
This is
realized
funny.
quite how extensive this
Typical.
was going to be, and I think that's why so many people, when they first saw the images that came out, that really, really took them aback. But at the same, it can be jarring. But at the same time, when you look at the White House itself, it is a relatively small compared to the world leader residences around the world, or compared to any European capital, for example. And so
Y'all
it
really
makes
finna
sense that
spend
the
time
White House
talking about this shit.
would have the ability to do this. You can't have world leaders have on these state visits, whether it be Republican or Democrat, coming in and they're walking around on the South Lawn and in these tents. And
Why do these people will anything Trump talks about, they think it matters and it actually is relevant. It doesn't matter what Trump did. He could be like, yeah, I take my shits on Thursdays. And they're going to be like, I mean, Piers, I don't know if you know, recent studies have said Thursdays is the best day you should take shit. So I don't know why anybody's upset with Trump for telling everybody he takes shits on Thursdays. I mean, I think that's the best day of the week that anybody should take a shit. I mean, I don't understand what the big deal is. It's like, damn, whatever he says, y'all act like it just has to be defended, and it's like the best decision to make. Oh, we can't have these world leaders coming and, it's just all this old room and it looks all outdated. We need something new, something that shows America is patriotic, and a big ballroom is a perfect thing we need. It's like, bro, nobody gives a fuck about the White House and hosting other people there, especially during these times.
on the grass. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Why not have a nice ballroom? And by the way,
Oh
while
my
we're
God,
at it,
it's
I do
disgusting.
love the fact that it was trending this weekend, that one of the names that was suggested for this is the Charles J. Kirk Ballroom.
Let me get straight to
Oh my God, and they're trying to call it a Charlie Kirk ballroom, bro. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me bring in Marc Lamont Hill here. I just think it's one of those things where if you look at the history of presidents and what they've done.
Why they
to the
showing
White
Michael
House
when they
as an
said let's go to
edifice.
Marc?
1829, Andrew Jackson added the North Portico. 1902, Theodore Roosevelt adds the West Wing.
Just show
1909,
everybody.
William Taft expands the West Wing and adds the first Oval Office. 1913, Woodrow Wilson adds the Rose Garden. 1942, FDR adds the East Wing to the house to house additional war staff and a bomb shelter. 1948, Truman oversees the total reconstruction of the White House.
I hope he's not reading this off the White House website where it got all that bullshit.
And 1970, Nixon adds the briefing room for journalists. There is a long and illustrious history of presidents from all sides doing stuff to the White House building, putting stuff up, taking stuff down. What's the big deal?
All right. Those are interesting dates and observations, and I think they are part of a bigger issue. Let me start by saying this is not my priority issue. There are a lot of things in the world to be outraged about right now, and this wouldn't make my top 20. I do understand, though, that some people see this as a signpost of a deeper problem. At a moment where there is a government shutdown, at a moment where there is not true peace, certainly not lasting peace in Gaza, at a moment where people are fighting for everything from healthcare to reparations to people battling about redistricting, for this to become not Trump's priority, but certainly the thing that is being trumpeted, it can appear to people as a distraction. You mentioned Nixon in 1970. Nixon in 1970 is opening up space for journalists, right? You mentioned a bomb shelter in it was during World War II. It was either, I remember,
42, yeah.
something, maybe 1940 or something. 42, that's in the middle of World War II, that makes sense. 1913, it was done, that's the year before World War I starts. So again, imagine if 2 years later someone was doing something purely for entertainment purposes, it could look bad. And at a moment where Trump is being...
Shut the fuck up.
It's for statecraft.
Again, I'm not arguing the point. I'm saying it's more about the optics for me. At a moment where Trump is being accused of assuming
Mark,
a kind of
here's what I would say.
authoritarian...
Oh my
Mark, here's what I'd
God.
say. Yeah, but Mark, here's what I say to that. The reason it's become such a big deal is because of the, in my opinion, massively over-the-top hysterical reaction to it from
It ain't even
Democrats.
been that crazy. I think the people are upset because it's the fact that he's doing it now when all this other shit is going on, and this is something that you're doing at the same time. The fucking government is shut down, and he's not making any real attempts to get it open. Like he said, it's not real. Well, shit, the ceasefire didn't even hold up. So that shit went to shit. He's bombing boats every fucking day. It's like, oh God.
It's not that big a deal, really. It's not costing the American people anything. And if another president who comes in from the Democratic Party doesn't like it, they can do their own thing. The president has the power and authority to do what
I don't know, Watts. I would be dead. I think he tries to say he's like a classical liberal. I don't know if he's ever said those words exactly, but he tries to act like he's like a liberal. This how liberals used to be. Like, shut the fuck up. All he do is run defense for the right.
what he's done. He thinks he needs a bigger space to welcome foreign dignitaries and world leaders. That's not really entertainment. That's part of the functioning process of the White House acknowledging and receiving the most important people in the world. I mean, I just can't. I'm trying to get angry about this, and I'm failing.
I don't think you need to get angry about this. By the way, the word entertainment space has been used repeatedly by the White House. That's why people are saying entertainment. I get that he's not hosting like Lollapalooza, but there's still an idea here that this is not a major priority in terms of politics. Again, it's not the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning or stops me from sleeping at night. But I do think it's interesting in a moment where people are seeing Trump seize more and more power, and he's seeming more and more like an authoritarian figure. And there are people who are saying that this requires a federal oversight committee and that this isn't the unilateral decision that should be made. And it costs $100 million more than he said, even though he's the great builder in chief. I think there are reasons why this you're almost giving fodder to your political opponents, which creates this hullabaloo that I don't think we need.
Okay, let me just come back, if I might, Michael, to something Scott Galloway said, which may be a much more significant part of this whole debate, which is he believes it's a sign of something else. Let's take a look. What
this means is the following, is that he is normalizing federal troops in cities. He's creating doubt around the election process, and he has no intention of leaving. Because if I'm renting a place, I won't put in a new refrigerator, much less tear down an entire wing. Yeah. So let's be honest, folks. You really think he'd go through this if he was planning to leave in 36 months?
Yeah, it's his new Mar-a-Lago. He's building Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
Now, Michael, Donald Trump was asked on Air Force One overnight. Well, hang on. Yeah, I'm coming to this. So, Michael, on Air Force One, Trump was asked about these persistent rumors that he may run again. Let's take a look.
I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? You'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't. They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have.
Bro, he stayed talking about Jasmine, bro.
AOC's low IQ.
Both smarter than him.
Now, Michael, my personal view is that Trump is on a massive troll about this, which is winding
up
best
numbers what
pretty successfully.
Dolph?
I don't actually think he has any intention to run again. However, I don't know for sure. Would you see that if he did actually try and run again? Or there's even this kind of weird conspiracy theory that he may let J.D. Vance run and act as his vice president. Then Vance just surrenders authority to his vice president, who's Donald Trump. Knowing Donald Trump, the idea he would do anything that involves the word vice is unthinkable, and he's already ruled that out as a mad idea. But would you think that if he was to try and run again, that to me would be a step too far? That's way more significant and serious, I would say.
Oh, what's the over and under that Jack is going to run defense for that concept? I don't even think Jack is going to say he's not going to run again. He's going to, no, he's not. No, I'm sorry. He is going to say he's not going to run again. He's not going to just say, if Trump did do that, that would be too far. He's not going to say that. He's just going to be, he's just getting under these liberal skin and it worked out perfectly. Look at Marc. Like, he's going to say some shit like that.
An argument about a ballroom.
Trump's second term.
Michael. I thought he was fucking asking Jack. Michael gonna do the same shit.
Far has been good enough that I would cheer if we could have Caesar Augustus Donaldus Trump, but it's not going to happen because it's prohibited by the 22nd Amendment. Even
see, he ain't entertaining the hypothetical.
The idea of his becoming vice president, it wouldn't work. The 22nd Amendment prohibits that. Now it's worth.
He don't give a fuck. I don't even think Trump's gonna. I'm not one of these people that think Trump is gonna run again. But the point is, don't act like he's not doing it because of the fucking Constitution. He don't care about the Constitution. And that's that part too, TJ. It's like, why are you condoning a president being a fucking troll? I'm not saying you can't ever be humorous or anything like that, but he literally is ignorantly a troll. And he's trolling the wrong people. If you're trolling our enemy, that if you're trolling fucking China, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Russia. Maybe that you probably could get away with that. But you shitting on Americans that disagree with you politically, but you're supposed to be the president for the entire country, whether or not we voted for you. So it's just what the fuck?
Pointing out, no less
insulting people in the House, and that really ain't. Well, the only reason they are talking about you is because you're a piece of shit towards them in the country. But
conservative than Ronald Reagan campaigned at the end of his second term and after he left office before Alzheimer's disease to overturn the 22nd Amendment. So there's a longstanding American tradition that that there is a term limit and it's at the ballot box.
Can't forget
and the only one who ever
suit.
used that was
and don't forget the Dijon mustard.
The Democrat Franklin Roosevelt, who became the American monarch. But all of that is kind of beside the point because we have a data point.
Yo, Marc is the only person I ever see that regularly lets his face do so much talking when people be talking. It'd be hilarious. He be having all the facial expressions.
Here, these Democrats who are wailing about Trump never leaving office because he wants to make some improvements to the White House at private expense, they seem to have forgotten that we already tested this in 2020 after Democrats had changed all the election rules, in some cases unconstitutionally. Even amid all of that, Donald Trump left office. And then people
Stop it. If you leave somewhere kicking and screaming, you didn't really leave. Like, you didn't really leave if you did the man fucking we're not going to go through January 6th. We know what happened. But you don't leave kicking and screaming and be like, oh, they left, right? No. Motherfuckers had to do absolutely everything to make sure you left. Then you was finna get charged for it, but you luckily won president again, so now you can't get charged for it. You was finna fucking go to trial for what you did to try to remain president. But they fucking kicked and screamed and went to the Supreme Court and fucking won somehow. I still don't get how that happened.
So much that they invited him back. So maybe in the meantime, once he leaves and J.D. Vance is president, maybe we can finally fulfill Reagan's dream, get rid of the 22nd Amendment, and then we can get Trump to a non-consecutive third term.
Brian, I want to play.
This is pathetic. I don't ever, bro. This is pathetic.
Play a clip from Steve Bannon, obviously
can I,
being very
Piers,
close
can I
to
answer
Trump
that
over the
real?
years.
It's one thing to give people props where it's due. It's another thing to gobble their nuts no matter what they do. That's where it's kind of like, God damn, bro. I mean, hell, if he ends the Israel-Palestine conflict, I'm gonna say that is probably the best thing he's ever done as president. I'll give him props for it. I'm not gonna ever take it away from him if he somehow gets that to fix the conflict. But all this glazing of everything the man does, when his wife you feel me? Like, my wife will start side-eyeing me if I start fucking praising the fucking president like this.
Well, let me play the clip from.
It's just like it don't make nobody better to just never ever criticize somebody.
Bannon, then you can. Hang on a second. I'll play the clip from Bannon. It's on the same theme. Then you can respond. Let's take a look.
You need a third term in order to see that job through.
Well, he's going to get a third term. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's a plan, and President Trump will be the president in 28.
He's way too serious for me. Why would he be that serious? I don't know if I don't watch enough of Steve Bannon to know if he's like a troll. Look at Michael.
Brian, your response.
So first of all, Michael, if the way that you're going to disprove the notion that Trump is going to try and seek a third term is by pointing to how he reacted in the aftermath of his loss in 2020,
right?
I don't think that inspires much confidence. I'm not sure.
Right? It's just fucking ridiculous. Like, that's not the reason we would believe it.
Did he leave office or not?
Full-blown.
Did he leave office or not? You've got to be kidding me. It's not. No, yes, he left office, but come on, you're just gonna ignore everything prior.
A whole ass insurrection.
The whole January 6th thing. I don't know if you missed it.
Right.
Well, so hold on. There was a big insurrection and a coup d'etat. So, Brian, let me just ask you: did Trump leave office or not?
Oh my God! I saw somebody say something like this: if you ask a girl out on a date 70 times and she says no, and then the 71st time she says yes, do you really? Mind you, you didn't do anything to change it. You just did. Do you really? Does that just cancel out everything else, or did she say, "Oh my God, I have no choice at this point, or else I'm gonna fucking die with this person asking me out on a date"? It's like, God damn. You can't just say like, oh, did he leave office? Motherfucker, if they would have had to pull him out by his arms, he technically didn't leave, and you're going to say, did he leave? Like, what the fuck you think he going to do, turn into the Terminator or something, and then plant his stake as president forever? Like, yeah, he left, but come on.
Yeah, dude, because he wasn't successful at trying to do what he was trying
to do. Right, if he was successful, he would have been president if he was successful for the coup.
Do. He was indicted for blocking the certification of Congress. Like, there is this whole revisionist history where people say, because he wasn't successful at trying the coup that he was trying, that somehow he didn't try it. His mentality is that he has carte blanche to stay in power, to usurp power, to hold it to himself whenever he wants, and pointing to 2020 doesn't prove your point, it expressly disproves your point.
It literally proves the point because he left office, which you just admitted.
Not willingly.
But this time
he didn't willingly.
Super duper insurrection, the worst in American history. Okay, I'll wait for that.
So if somebody tries to place a wager, if somebody tries
I think we can have an honest conversation about this. That's a little more nuanced than that. I mean, I think the truth is, I think we can all say Donald Trump indisputably left office. I think we can all say Donald Trump left office kicking and screaming. He did
Ryan say
every
that?
legislation. No, I'm trying to advance the conversation so we don't just have a dogfight the whole time. I'm saying, yeah, there was a fight. Yes, there was resistance. Some of it was legal. Some of it was extra legal. Some of it was flat out illegal. Some of it was nonviolent. Some of it was violent. Some of it wasn't directly from Trump. Some of it was from his support. We get that. But the point here is that Trump did not want to leave office and did everything he could to not leave office, and still doesn't really believe, or at least doesn't state publicly that he lost the election.
Yeah, I love the correction. He doesn't state publicly because that motherfucker know he lost the damn election. Like he said, he won't state it publicly. Yeah, he know he fucking lost.
And so based on that logic, it's not unreasonable to think that Donald Trump would resist again. And if he resisted knowing that he doesn't have a second term in his back pocket like he did the first time, it's entirely plausible that he goes even harder this time. It's entirely plausible. All the conspiracy theories are possible. And when people who have supported him for years, if not decades, say, look, he ain't going nowhere, that also doesn't inspire confidence that there's going to be a smooth transition of power.
You don't believe this. Would you place any money on the notion?
I don't think Trump is gonna try to, but I'm not saying it's not out of the realm of possibility. If he makes it, because they say like if you live past like the average lifespan, if you don't have anything going on, you probably Trump probably do got something going on. But what is he say? He's finna be 80 or something? Like since he's already made it to 80, he probably can make it to 90. I don't know, but it's possible if he don't have no like chronic illness or anything like that. Since he made it past that threshold, he might just fucking live that long. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Trump will try to stay in office, or at the very least try to appoint the next person to be president, if not that. I don't think he will, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
And Trump is going to stay in office for third term.
Just allow me to finish the thought.
Michael interrupts a lot.
And so when you see that rhetoric, these actions, Trump statements, then combined with him doing major reconstruction on a rental, as my man said, that does make some people anxious. Do I think Trump is going to stay in the third term? No, because I think that the armed forces, I think in particular branches of government aren't going to allow that to happen because they'll be listening to the new commander-in-chief who will be the elected president. I actually think Trump won't stay a third time. But I do think it won't be without a fight. I think that's plausible.
Yeah.
Today's show is sponsored by Oxford.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris is definitely hinting she may run again, which might be even better news for Republicans than Donald Trump running again. This is what she told Laura Kuenssberg from the BBC yesterday.
In terms then of what is next for you, you write very powerfully about the differences that many women have made to your life. When are they going to see a woman in charge in the White House?
In their lifetime, for sure.
Could it be you?
Possibly.
In my experience interviewing politicians, when someone says I'm not done, it means they are thinking seriously about running. But when you look at the bookies' odds, they put you as an outsider.
I've never listened to polls. If I listened to polls, I would have not run for my first office or my second office. And I certainly wouldn't be sitting here in this interview.
And she also told Charlotte.
Yeah, she seemed committed. I don't want her to run again. I like Kamala, and I just feel like her chances of being president has just been fucked up because of the way this last election went. I don't want her to run again, though, because I don't want to see her have to deal with everybody trying to shit on her again. I just think her chance of winning president is probably shot at this point because of how this last round went. I would have loved for her to be president, but at this point, I think it's a done deal. Like I just think it's been fucking ruined. I don't know.
Playing the God, I'm not done. I've lived my entire life of service. It's in my bones. So there have been 2 interviews at the weekend, or the last few days, where she's clearly intimated, Jack, that she may have another go at this. I mean, I watched the interview she did in its entirety with Laura Kuenssberg. I thought she just came over as so utterly deluded. Clearly thinks this was a very narrow defeat, that under normal circumstances.
It was a narrow defeat. There's a world Kamala could have won for having a fucking 4-month campaign, not even 4 months, a little over 3-month campaign to lose by a couple 100,000 votes in a few states. There's a world Kamala could have won. It wasn't like so impossible that she could have won. I'm sick of this narrative to pretend like he just stumped her because he won the swing states in the popular vote, as if it was this huge margin like Joe Biden beat him. Like, let's not do that. She got the second most votes of any Democratic candidate. So let's not act like there was no possibility under the sun that Kamala could have won. Trump won without a popular vote. She could have won without the popular vote too. So let's not do that. And it would have been, and his gap was smaller. His gap wasn't even as big as Hillary. Hillary got 3 million more votes than him. 3 or 4 million, I think. Come the fuck on. He wasn't even going to get that much of a, they shit was going to be super close if Kamala They shit was gonna be super close if Kamala would have won. It wouldn't have been he wouldn't have had 4 million more votes to her, even if he won the popular vote. It wasn't gonna be 3 to 4 million votes.
If Biden had stood down a bit earlier, she'd have walked it. When in fact the reality is Donald Trump won everything. He won the White House, the
There they go.
Electoral College, the popular vote. He won the whole of Congress. He won
Look at Mark. He like it don't matter. The margins was so small.
every swing state. I mean, it was the biggest shellacking of modern times in terms
No,
of...
it was not the biggest shellacking. It was the fucking 4th smallest gap in presidential history. The 4th smallest win.
The breadth of the victory.
Please,
Why
somebody
would she even
say
think
it.
of running again?
Oh, no, Piers, I couldn't disagree more. I mean, America's a divided country. This panel's divided in many ways. But if there's one thing America can't get enough of, it's more Kamala Harris. We need more Kamala Harris on TV, more Kamala Harris rallies, more of the...
I know Mark don't care for Kamala, but I don't think he's gonna give them more by shitting on her too. I hope he doesn't.
Those incredible concerts, which I attended, many of them, many of the rallies that I went to, just so high energy. We need as much.
Well, they were high energy, sir. Don't lie about that. They were high energy.
Kamala Harris as America. Actually, she should replace Bad Bunny as the Super Bowl halftime performer. She should just get up there with Megan Thee Stallion, maybe with Bad Bunny, come on out as a guest. I would love her to do every single bit of that.
Well, Brian and Mark have been stony-faced throughout that little statement. So, Brian, let me ask you, this cannot be helpful, surely, to the Democratic Party. I mean, what I'm seeing with the Democratic Party right now...
I mean, if she run in the primaries, it's okay. Like, she can run in the primaries, and we'll figure that out when it's time. If she makes it, she make it. If she don't, she don't. It is what it is.
You've got Kamala Harris on this kind of...
They acting like if she wants to run this, she's going to be the fucking candidate in the general election. Like...
whiny defeat tour, hinting she wants another go at this, which I think would be a disaster. But you also have the whiny defeat tour, the Democratic Party right now. You've got Kamala Harris on this kind of whiny defeat tour, hinting she wants another go at this, which I think would be a disaster. But you also have the progressive, quite hard left of the party beginning to dominate now in Democratic politics. And again, if you're the Republicans, you're probably rubbing your hands with glee that AOC may be the candidate. I mean, what is your view of...
I feel like they be playing like... I don't think they underestimate somebody like AOC too much, especially without a fucking Trump running. The Republicans have absolutely nothing. The Democrats has a way stronger fucking bench to run in 2028 than the Republicans can even fathom right now. They literally have nobody. Nobody fucking likes J.D. Vance. He was the least popular person in the entire 2024 run. So let's stop acting like the Republicans got some great matchups, even if it was a AOC, a Gavin, or Whitmer, or a Kamala. Like, stop.
The way, first of all, what Kamala Harris is doing on maneuvers, but also the way the battle to be the voice and the heart, if you like, and the soul of the Democratic Party is looking like, heading towards another election.
I think in general, if Kamala Harris wants to throw her hat in the ring again, like a full primary is not something that's going to hurt anybody. I think
exactly. I'm like, if she just runs in a primary, it's like, okay, like, who gives a shit? If she wins it, she wins. If she don't, she don't.
Voices as we possibly can is just going to be.
We
I mean,
gonna
the
hash that
criticism
out
against
then.
Democrats as we headed into the 2024 election was that it was not a democratic process, and so inherently, for anybody to say, "Oh, Kamala Harris can't run," I think is feeding into that same idea. If she wants to run, if she wants to be part of what I promise will be an extraordinarily large primary field, then more power to her. I think more voices is always welcome. It may be the case that she gets only a few percentage points and it becomes very clear that she's not going to be the nominee. So be it. I think that that lending ourselves to that democratic process is only going to help more and more. Now, in terms of the broader Democratic Party right now, look, I think to your point, there is a bit of uncertainty as to who.
But it's still so early that it doesn't matter.
The new face of the Democratic Party is going to be, as to who the leadership of the Democratic Party is going to be. We don't have that answer right now, and I know that's not really like a satisfactory answer, but we just don't have that answer, and in large part, that's why the party had felt rudderless for so long. And so, I think that we're going to get that answer relatively soon, but I think that we can see as we head toward the 2026 midterm cycle that really, in large part, these midterm elections are going to be a referendum on the unpopularity of Republicans. We've seen Democrats overperform 12, 14, 16 points from where they were in 2024. So we'll be able to kind of benefit from that as we head toward midterms, but we're going to need some standard bearer as we head toward 28.
Michael Knowles, it seems to me the problem the Democratic Party has, well, I'll come to you, Mark, in a moment, but Michael, in the New York mayoral race, Mamdani is clearly a very charismatic guy. He's galvanized people in New York. There's no question of that. And there's no doubt that the party nationally is looking at him and thinking, wow, okay, is this the way to go? But my gut feeling is that what the Democratic Party is desperately crying out for is another kind of Bill Clinton figure, Barack Obama figure, left of center, but not too far left, pragmatic, a common sense candidate with bags of charisma, someone who can come and really like drag the...
How do you say that and you see the popularity that Mamdani has? Like, how are you saying that that's what people want? But granted, New York isn't the entire country, to be fair. But it's not crazy to think that if people see Mamdani and like him, whether they're in New York or not, that they could want that for the country. Maybe they want a more left than left of center candidate. You don't know that.
Party out of the poll gutter is currently languishing. Least popular Democratic Party ever right now in recorded history in terms of the poll numbers. And I looked at the rally yesterday where you had AOC and Bernie Sanders and Mamdani and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, I just this can't work, can it?
How?
Mamdani is very impressive for New York, and I hope that the Democrats take the lesson that they need to replicate him nationally. I hope they nominate him for president in 2028, because the demographic of New York is not the demographic of the rest of the country. So Mamdani, for instance, relies on the foreign-born New Yorker population. Without the foreign-born population, he loses. It's not even particularly close. So I hope that they try to make all of America look like New York. For the rest of them, I think you're right, Piers. The Democrats are trying to have a Bill Clinton, New Democrat-like figure. That was Gavin Newsom's initial instinct. So he tried to make friends with Charlie Kirk. He tried to make friends with Steve Bannon. And then the base just wouldn't let him. So then he had his press office tweeting out all sorts of unhinged, radically left-wing things, vaguely threatening. They don't know what to do. They're schizophrenic. I don't think that Kamala is serious about running. I think Kamala had some ghost-written book, and she answered the question about how she's not done in politics. I think this is Sarah Palin 2012 all over again. It's going to be will she, won't she, to try to get some speaker fees, but it's not really going to work. And then who are you left with? I think AOC is legitimately a pretty impressive candidate, probably can't win nationally, but she is where the Democrat Party is going. Otherwise, who you got? Mamdani? Okay, nominate him. I'm in. Where do I donate?
Yeah, I mean, Mark Lamont Hill.
I personally would love to see a Gavin AOC ticket. I don't know if AOC will do it, but I don't see her running in 2028. But that'd be perfect for her in 2032. I think that would be perfect. I think that's perfect. Like Gavin AOC 2028, 2032. Well, no, shit. Gavin hopefully could serve 8 years. I think he in his late 50s. He ain't old. No, it don't matter. He could do 2 years. Set up AOC. She'll have more than enough experience. AOC runs, and that's boom. That's what it is. I would love that. I would love it.
I think this is a real crisis of identity for the Democratic Party, and it looks to me like they haven't really learned much.
Yeah, or if not AOC, Whitmer or something.
Last election. Which is if you get hijacked by the progressive left of the party with all the woke stuff that was enveloping the party, that you can run into a populist Republican candidate who just takes you to the woodshed, right? And I just feel like they haven't learned from this. That surely the party has to move back to a more electable centre ground, doesn't it? Like most of you.
Man, these ads is crazy.
It's so fascinating.
Blueprint activated. Go to superpower.com.
You know, it's so fascinating. I was with you right until about 70% of that sentence. It was going to be one of those monumental achievements in human history that you and I agreed. I think you're right that the Democratic Party has not learned its lesson. I think the Democratic Party over and over again continues to fail to lose its lesson because it doesn't seem to be able to find its backbone. And it doesn't seem to want to engage or respond to the policies and the outcomes that voters want. I mean, the reason Mamdani is popular is because he's speaking to people's needs. I mean, people want lower taxes. People want public transportation that's free. People want access to housing and healthcare. People want to be safe on the streets. And we can have disagreements about certain pieces of Mamdani's politics. That's fine. Everyone can have those agreements or disagreements. I tend to agree with him. But ultimately, he's speaking to the voters' needs. What the Democrats keep doing, particularly on national elections, is say, hey, we're going to try to out-Republican the Republicans. Kamala Harris went on the national stage, and she's bringing on Republicans with her.
I still don't like how they keep acting like fucking... Y'all know, I can't think of her name right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Was her fucking running mate. They did like two events together during her whole 3 months. And like, it's just, I get it. Like, it's not, like he said, our Republican, it may not, I think there was more to gain than lose from that. I could totally be wrong. I think it was the one or two things came from having her, I cannot think of this woman's name. Jesus Christ. What was Bush's vice president? Damn, this finna bother me. Liz Cheney. I I think at worst it was neutral. Nothing happened. If anything, it would have got some Republicans to realize that Trump was a threat to vote for Kamala just to keep the country not going into shit. And at worst, it did absolutely nothing for anybody on either side. I don't think it made people not vote for Kamala because you either was going to vote for her or you weren't going to vote for her. And then if you didn't like that, you still just not going to vote for her. It didn't make you go from voting for her to voting for Trump just because she campaigned with Liz Cheney. Because those people was always going to vote for Trump regardless. Or if you got some people that didn't want to vote for Democrat because they just don't want to but don't like Trump, they probably just continue to not vote. So I don't think campaigning with Liz did anything harmful. It was either neutral or it might have got some never Trump Republicans to actually just bite the bullet and vote for Kamala, in my opinion.
Not moving beyond Biden or Trump's position on Israel-Palestine, which became a huge...
And this Israel-Palestine thing, I'm sorry, a lot of these people that's more left than I am think that shit really just changed a lot of people. Like, I think the average, for Marc is smarter than this, the average folk don't really know much about this conflict, and if they do, that is not their priority. They are not voting for the Democratic nominee simply because they don't like their position on Israel-Palestine, especially with this country. Like, if you're already on the left, like, I don't think there's people like that. There's, like, you know, the far left. A lot of them was like, I'm not voting, but that's not the majority. Average Americans is not thinking about the Israel-Palestine thing and withholding their vote over that. Not most people. I'm not saying they don't exist.
A wedge issue for her when she was running. When we talk about immigration, when we talk about offshore drilling, I could name 5 issues of fracking, more specifically. We could name multiple things.
Yeah, people just wasn't listening, though. She was okay with fracking.
That she just wasn't sufficiently distinguishable from the Republican alternative. And that's what didn't make voters excited to come out and vote for her, along with all the other stuff. I absolutely think that they need to learn their lesson. The Republicans learned the lesson over a decade ago.
And again, she only did like 2 things with Liz. It wasn't this extended campaign run.
Remember when the Republicans kept getting shellacked and Bobby Jindal did the autopsy of the Republican Party? And the thing the Republicans start to learn is they need to speak to their voters. They need to speak to the base of their voters. They need to stop backing down. That's what I'd like to see from Democrats. And as far as the Kamala Harris choice, I disagree wholeheartedly. I know some people pretty close to her. I haven't spoken to her directly, but I think she's absolutely considering running. And my fear is not that she'll get nominated. I actually don't think she'll win the nomination. But my fear is that the person who does won't be that different. If Gavin Newsom runs, he's more popular. He's more charming to some people. He's more handsome to some people. But he's the same candidate in different wrapping. We need a progressive, a real progressive.
If I can add,
I just don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of these people think the country is more progressive than it is. I mean, yes, they say the base is progressive, but why aren't the progressives winning anything? They don't win it. Mom Donnie may be the first person to get this ball rolling. Like, Bernie was freaking popular, yes, but y'all not getting the people to vote for these people. Like, it's just not happening the way that y'all say it is. It's I don't know, man. I don't know how most of the country feel, because I think that they think that most of the country is as left as them, and I just don't think that really bears out. Like, I don't even consider myself far left. I'm more center left, but it's just like, I know that even some of my takes have people on the left be like, what you talking about? Like, and I'm not, and I don't consider myself far left. Like, I be saying stuff, and then people be looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, damn, you don't want trans people to, like, get help? You don't want trans people to have health care? Like, some people on the left, I know a lot of people that's on the left that don't want trans people to have health care for them being trans. And it's like, well, shit. You know, and probably a lot of people feel that way, so I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
Too, Piers,
Brian,
you had mentioned,
because like I said, a lot of people on the left do not know the ins and outs of Israel-Palestine, nor do they care, especially to withhold or change their vote.
You mentioned the progressive left and all the woke stuff. Think about who the candidates are that have been relentlessly focused, to Marc's point, on issues that impact regular voters. Bernie Sanders, the farthest left politician that we have in America, also the most popular politician that we have.
Yeah, he's the most popular politician, period, right now
in America. Also the one who is so focused not on woke issues, but on issues that impact regular Americans, on economic issues.
Yeah, I do wish Bernie was younger. I think this would have definitely been his time if he was younger.
Same way Mamdani ran this whole campaign, focused on the rent and focused on free buses and
still sharp. He's still sharp as a tack, but I don't know.
Making sure that people can afford to eat. So there's this weird conflation where just because someone is progressive that you just assume that they're these just bastions of wokeness, but in fact the most progressive candidates, the people who identify as democratic socialists, those are the ones who are focused on issues that actually impact real Americans.
Great point. He's cooking right now. He cooking.
Largely economic issues. And in fact, it is
yeah, but if
the
you
Republican
but I would say
candidate.
Oh my God! But if you're gonna let men come in women's sports and beat them up,
in office who are more focused on identity politics.
Yeah, but Brian, okay, but if you asked AOC, for example, what is a woman? We all know.
I fucking knew it. I told you. Oh God, it's not exactly what I said, but it's clearly the same realm. Oh my God, I knew it. Oh, I knew it.
So she'd struggle to answer, right? This is the problem, right? She would be very,
look at Mark. He like, bro, look what you talk about. He's sitting there. We're sitting there talking about the most progressive people on the left. AOC, Bernie. They're talking about shit people care about, and what you bring up when you ask AOC what is a woman, what the fuck are we? Nobody cares. We all know what a woman is. Y'all actually don't know. No, let me be clear. They don't know what a woman is. Everybody else kind of knows. You either A, really know what it is, or B, you know what it is, but you don't want to accept it because it breaks your whole worldview down. Those are the only two options. Y'all don't know what a woman is, or y'all just don't want to accept what a woman really is, and y'all can't express it because, like I said, your whole worldview will shatter.
Wary of articulating that a woman is an adult female, right? Because
I think
AOC would.
God, shut the.
I think AOC would have no problem. I think people love creating.
She would struggle.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, how about Mamdani?
The only struggle would be arriving at a common point of definition between her and transphobic people who refuse to accept trans.
Thank you. That's would be the problem. That would be the problem. It's the people that don't want to accept the actual definition of what a woman is that'll argue with her. She'll do just fine answering that.
People as people, and trans women as women, and trans men as
men.
Yeah,
but this is why. But hang on, Mark.
Look at Mike. Like, look, see, y'all don't know what a woman is. Goof ass.
Mark, this is where.
See,
Mark, this is where you're so wrong, and I'll explain why.
Oh God! If you let a man go into a boxing ring with a woman and he beats her to the point that she quits, how is that fair?
Kamala Harris, if you remember in the last election, in the run-up to the election day, the most successful...
Oh, the most successful was because she's for them, we're for you, whatever.
Ad in modern American political history, the New York Times said afterwards, was the 30-second ad about Kamala Harris and the trans issue.
It's just so funny because Kamala didn't talk about trans people fucking at all during her campaign, so I don't even know why this shit mattered.
With Kamala...
That's how stupid voters are, because Kamala never brought up trans people, and this ad was so effective. And the fucking right just sets the tone. It's just crazy.
So they, them, Donald Trump is few. They reckon it moved the needle by 3 points. And yet at the same time, many on the Democratic side were saying, this woke stuff, nobody cares, it's irrelevant, it doesn't cut through, it's all just right-wing hysteria. And I was sitting there in the middle.
The problem is the fact that the right has made people feel like this actually matters. That's the problem.
No, it does cut through. It does cut through. If you're like a mum with kids in sport, in women's sport, in middle America, you absolutely care about this. And you want to have a candidate that can quite clearly tell you what a woman is. Now, again, I come back to this because to me it became a litmus test of where the left took things. If you can't articulate what a woman is without, as you say, I'm not, look at me.
You really, Piers, shut the hell up. Damn.
Remotely transphobic. I think trans people exist. They have a right to exist. They have a right to fairness, equality, safety, like you and me. I want the same right.
Why the fuck do you care what they call?
So then everybody else gets. However, not at the expense of eroding women's rights. And that's why the definition of a woman is so crucially important, because it stops the unfairness and inequality and safety issues that come.
He's still going to go to sports. Oh, my God.
When you allow trans women to say we're women and they start trampling on women's rights.
Here we go. We got there. I said it and we got there. Fuck.
That's why it's so important.
Okay. I heard your statement. You articulated quite masterfully. I'm going to ask you if you allow me to respond without interruption. I'll take 20 seconds. There's a difference between saying we disagree on what defines a woman and saying that people who have a more expansive definition are struggling to define what a woman is. We're not struggling to define it. You just don't agree with us. Trans women are women. Cis women are women. They're all women. There are different experiences. There are different stories. There are different contexts. And we have to be, I think, honest about that in public policy. But there's no struggle here. If there's any struggle, it's been getting voters to remain focused on the issues that actually matter. I didn't have an issue that Kamala Harris prioritized or paid great attention to trans women's rights. The problem was
she didn't. Why do they keep? Don't let them say that. She did not do that.
She allowed the right wing to co-opt the narrative and make it seem like that's all she cared about.
Don't say she allowed it. Her fucking campaign team allowed that shit. Because I know they coached her through that shit. You know, Kamala not mentioning trans people, not mentioning being black, not mentioning being a woman. That was all intentional. Now, I'm not saying she would have done it if they didn't tell her, but we all know that was part of the plan. That's the thing, too. Everybody keep acting like she was so woke and so for LGBTQ everything. When we've been past that part of politics right now, we're past that shit right now. That's not what's important at this point in time. They consciously was like, yo, people don't care about you being a woman. They don't care about you being black. They don't care about you being Indian or whatever the fuck. They don't care about none of that. Just run on. She was a pretty center-left candidate. She was not the most extreme progressive person while they keep pretending like she was this super woke LGBTQ advocate. And it's just not true.
That she didn't care about workers' rights, that she didn't care about reparations.
Yeah, and they painted the narrative, yeah.
Didn't care about living wages, that she didn't care about Palestinians in Gaza.
Hey, it's been 13 people in here consistently, but nobody's chatting. What y'all on, man? I fuck with y'all, but let me know y'all fuck with me.
That she didn't care about Haiti, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So no, that's not an issue. And finally, to take this one issue around women's sports, and which is relatively small in terms of its
don't say relatively, say it's infinitesimal, my nigga.
impact on everyday people, and make it seem as if trans people who make up an infinitesimal part of the American public.
Yes, he said it. I didn't even. Yes, he said the word. I'm like, come on, man.
Are somehow running through your cities and just doing triple axles and dunks and swimming past all your little girls and ruining their sports dreams is a dishonest narrative. I probably agree with you to a large degree about needing to have a conversation about trans women in sports. I'm open to having that conversation.
But they're not open to having it. They just want to shut it. That's the problem. They pretend they don't want to have that conversation. They want to shut it down. So, and I get why you want to shut it down, but you want to shut it down without any information with why you want to shut it down. There's information to learn about that shit.
Open to doing is making it seem as if trans people are destroying the world, or they're destroying women's rights, or they're undermining women's rights. There's a lot of people undermining women's rights right now, and it ain't trans people. And allowing the right to convince us that was the big issue in the election is why the Democrats lost. And I don't blame the Republicans for that. I blame the Democrats for not foregrounding the issues that mattered in addition to this other issue that also matters.
Facts.
But Mark, I think you just made Piers'
Can
point
a woman
for
have
him
a...
because-
Hang on, Michael.
Oh my God. Piers finna say something stupid. He ain't listening to nothing that Mark said. He finna ask him a fucking stupid question that's irrelevant to everything Mark just laid out.
Come to you, but just quickly, can a woman have a penis, Mark? Yes or no?
See, oh my God. I can't fucking stand Piers. Oh my gosh. Notice, and this is the thing. I wonder if he ain't saying female on purpose. I wonder if he actually knows the difference, but does this bullshit just for the drama of the show to keep the drama going. Because if he would have said female, he know what the answer would have been. But now, can a woman have a penis?
These types, a trans woman may have a penis. A cis woman would not have a penis.
There we go. There's your fucking answer. And watch, that was a good answer. And Piers is still finna try to find a way to argue with him. Or Michael. Michael can't fucking control himself right now.
These are silly gotcha games that are just used to get clips on the internet. I understand your point.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are, Piers. Shut the fuck up. Yes, it is.
Simple biology.
He just laid out the biology. You don't understand it, motherfucker.
No, it's simple biology.
If you're talking about biology, you would have said female, you dickhead, but you said woman. He said a trans woman may have a penis and a cis woman wouldn't. So there's your fucking answer, because that was the perfect answer, and you still finna, you biology. You didn't say female. You didn't say female or male, nigga.
Have a penis. Full stop.
Wait, what?
No, it's simple biology. A woman can't have a penis.
You fucking idiot.
Full stop.
You and I agree on the biology. The point here is that gender identities are different than sex identities. In other words, gender identity is not a biological construct. So yes, women birth babies. Men have penises. We all agree on that if we're talking about male and female, actually. Males have penises. Women have vaginas. We agree with that. We can all agree on that. When we talk about gender, it's not purely about what you're assigned biologically at birth. And so to conflate the two things is to either be ignorant to the actual issue or to be disingenuous. I don't think...
You either are fucking just not informed or you're just lying and you don't want to accept the truth because it breaks your worldview down. That's the only two options. You're not accepting the fact of the matter. The mere fact that trans people actually exist in real life breaks down everything you think you believe about men and women. It doesn't change what a male and a female is. We all agree on what a male and a female is. You just refuse to actually take in the difference between gender and sex, and that shit is irritating.
So does anyone who has a vagina, is that a man?
You're asking the same stupid question.
Say that one more. Say that again. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, so just following that on just the inverse also true then. So does anyone who has a vagina must be a man then, right?
Anyone? What the fuck are you? You don't even know what you're trying to ask, you fucking idiot.
No, that's not the inverse. That's not at all the inverse. The point here is that biologically, there's male and female. That's a much better question that would follow. Biologically, there's male and female.
Oh.
That's a much better question that would follow more logically than the thing you initially asked. Biologically, if you have a vagina, if you're born with a vagina, you are a female. Biologically, if you're born with a penis, you are a male. Yes, that's not in dispute. What's in dispute is, are our biological, our identities at birth, are our biological identities the whole story? And in a trans conversation, we're saying, no, that's not the whole story.
Right.
Yes, I was assigned male at birth. Everybody on this panel, ironically, was assigned male at birth.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in dispute. What's in dispute is, does that tell the whole story?
I wasn't assigned male at birth. Hang on, but this whole...
Did you say male or man?
That's not in dispute. What's in dispute is, does that tell the whole story?
I wasn't assigned male.
On this panel, ironically, was assigned male at birth. That's not in dispute. What's in dispute is, does that tell the whole story?
I wasn't assigned male at birth. Hang on, but this whole language, Mark, this whole language is so ridiculous. I wasn't assigned.
I'm mad they let him. I mean, even though Mark is holding it down, Mark is doing great to explain this situation, but it's annoying because Piers thinks he's winning it, so he's gonna continue to fucking pound in on this topic.
Male at birth. I was born a male. Right, and this is the problem. And when you talk about trans women in sport, the reason it's so important. The reason it's so important is
based on what exactly? Based on what?
There is Mark. Let me just finish my point.
No, you can't. Yeah, he can't answer the question exactly.
I interviewed a woman called Betty Yee last week, who is literally a candidate to be governor of California, where I currently am. I have a home here in LA, and she genuinely wants the next Olympics in Los Angeles to be gender neutral. That's what she's endorsing, a gender-neutral Olympics, because she's been so traduced into going along with a lot of what you've just been saying, which trans women are women, therefore it shouldn't matter. You can merge the two sexes, you can have gender-neutral Olympics, and here's what happens when you do that. If you're at a gender-neutral Olympics, women wouldn't win any medals. End.
Well, that's not true. That's not true. Even when y'all harp on fucking Leah Thomas, she didn't even win against women, so that itself disproves what you're saying. Leah Thomas didn't beat women. Cis women.
You literally destroy women's sport irrevocably. Done. Gone. So once you assume that we separate the sexes at the Olympics, well, I don't think it's funny, this. I think it's so important. It's fundamental.
It's funny because you sound ignorant. That's why.
No, I don't think it's funny either. What I think is, I was laughing to myself.
Mark, let me finish. Let me finish. We separate the sexes at the Olympics for a reason.
Please finish, but there's a 7-second delay, so I'm not interrupting you. There's just a 7-second delay. I'm telling that to the audience.
Exactly. Because he always, I don't know why the fuck Piers' show has been going on this long and he forgets that he doesn't act like his shit has a delay.
I recognize that. Go ahead. I recognize that. You're not interrupting me. There is a very slight delay. I agree.
No, there ain't no slight delay. He got one of the worst delays on any of these shows.
Let me just ask you, though, why do we separate the sexes at the Olympics?
Okay. So I'm going to answer your question, but I'd like to respond to the first part of what you say, which I didn't get to respond to, because, again, you're making a straw man here. I'm not arguing for mixing the sexes at the Olympics. I agree with you that we start to divide sports by sex around middle school because there are some biological, physical differences between people born male and people born female that make it non-competitive for female, those assigned female or those who are identified as females at that point. So no, I understand why we divide people in track or basketball or wrestling. I'm not arguing for not doing that.
Well, they actually don't. Until you get into professional wrestling, they don't change. They don't divide them by sex. I think even in high school, some of the girls wrestle with boys, I think.
I'm saying that two things can be true at once. As I said initially, we can have a conversation about trans people in sports, but that doesn't mean that I have to no longer identify trans men as men or trans women as women. We can say trans women are women and have conversations about sports that are different.
Sports, exactly. They don't have to. Just because you call trans women women doesn't mean that now every trans woman has to compete in sports with cis women. It does. Those two things are two separate things we could talk about.
And you're conflating those two, and every time
because sports are divided by sex, not gender.
I dispute your point about gender versus sex. You make a straw man argument about women competing in like the triathlon, which I'm not making.
Mm-hmm. Marc always lays out where this is why I love watching Marc on Piers, because he doesn't just answer Piers' stupid questions and just rebut them eloquently, but he points out why you're so dishonest and the flaw in whatever the fuck you're saying. Piers and whoever else is on the panel he's talking to, he shows everybody like, look, this is where they fucking up, and now I'm finna dismantle it. That's what happens. He'd be like, look, y'all, this is the fuck up. Now let me break it down. Cause it just goes to show how he has Piers down to a fucking T of the way he runs this show.
All right, let me bring in Michael.
Look, and now he ain't got no response. He has no response because Marc always breaks him down. He breaks him down to where it's like, you're not finna just keep saying all this bullshit to me.
Very patiently here. But it seems to me, Michael, the left get themselves into torturous knots about this issue.
He's like, let me talk to Mike so I can feel better about my stupid ass points.
So fundamentally don't understand how it sounds to people.
See, look at Marc like this nigga just fucking didn't respond to anything I said to just go back to Michael so I can feel better about how stupid I am.
Knots about this issue. They also fundamentally don't understand how it sounds to people listening to this stuff, because it
sounds like you're ignorant and not willing to learn anything because you think you know everything. I bet you Piers hasn't took 2 seconds to look into any of this shit as far as what the science behind trans people is. Like, he hasn't.
Honestly.
He's just like, oh, they're trans, I accept them, but then you just want to fucking scapegoat them for this stupid talking point.
It sounds slightly insane. Because what Marc has just done is articulated perfectly that we separate the sexes in the Olympics because men have a physical advantage.
Yeah, but that doesn't have any, you don't.
At the same time, he wants trans women to be actually acknowledged as actual women.
Yes, because the sports are fucking designated by sex, not by gender.
The argument should be they should be entitled to all the same rights as a woman. In other words, should be able to compete against women. This is the problem with it. Michael.
Yeah, I think that Marc has just proven...
Exactly, that's not what he said. Like, what the hell was that? You literally just ignored what he said to just make up something for Michael to fucking respond to.
Broader political point. Because to what Marc said, he said two things can be true at once. And that's true, but two opposing things cannot be true at once. That violates the law of non-contradiction, which we've known since at least Aristotle.
Well, sex and gender don't oppose one another.
So it cannot be the case. Marc's definition is that a woman is a person who identifies as a woman, but that's obviously a circular definition and therefore completely insufficient.
He didn't say that. I was going to say he did not say that. He didn't say a woman is who identifies as a woman. He didn't say that.
He'll say, hold on, let me just finish. Or he'll say,
right.
No, but that's not my position. I just want to be clear that that's not my position. You're stating is my position.
A woman can be biologically a woman, but for legal purposes, a man or something like that. And it's
why are you even trying to fucking repeat what he said if you're just gonna not say what he said?
Totally incoherent, and it obviously is not persuasive to voters. So getting back to the broader point that Piers opened up with, all he said was, look, if you asked AOC what a woman is, she would tie herself into not answering. I think this panel, and Marc in particular, has just demonstrated that. And to your point, Brian,
no, he just eloquently, he just perfectly laid out these definitions and concepts perfectly.
I agree that Bernie is generally a non-woke leftist, and he's been very good actually on certain issues like immigration, because he's for reducing immigration to help workers' rights. However, I think Mamdani and AOC are manifestly woke, and I think you've just proven the point right here. If they cannot answer, as Ketanji Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, could not answer what a woman is, that's a good rule of thumb. They've gone woke, and it has really hurt them with voters. It hurt them on common sense issues in 2024, and the more schizophrenia they demonstrate on issues like that, the worse they're going to do in 28.
I think.
Well, you can read more about this in my. Hang on, wait 1 second. You can read more about
this. Woke is dead.
This in my new book, Woke is Dead, which is more an aspiration that woke is dead. But this is one of the reasons why the ideology behind it is so inherently flawed.
I like what Mike Nellis said when he was on here. He was like, "Yes, Piers, woke will never die because you won't let it." Like Piers brings this up every fucking show, no matter what the topic is, damn near.
I want to stay with you just to change topics and then come to the others, but there's been an interesting feud erupting in the cyberspace between Matt Walsh and Mehdi Hassan. We'll let Mehdi explain what he thinks it's about.
Now, what's really bothering him about me is that I said in a recent visit to Dearborn, I think that if you can play church bells, you can pray the call to prayer. Isn't it okay for Muslim Americans to broadcast a call to prayer? I mean, let me add right now, within reason, of course, and in accordance with all local sound and noise ordinances. But Matt went nuts and said Christianity built this country. Islam did not at all in even the slightest way. That's why we can have our church bells. To which I responded, 1 in 3 of the slaves who built this country were Muslims. They were here long before the Walsh family arrived. You'd know that if you'd studied history, but I know MAGA has an issue with studying. To which Matt responded with a 13-minute video in which he got really mad, but was unable to rebut the 2 central points that I made.
Well, let's see a little bit of Matt Walsh's response to Mehdi.
You're as American as anyone else? Really,
Yes.
Mehdi?
Yes. Yes.
Really, Mr. Hassan? You're as American as anyone?
He's more American than you, motherfucker.
Muslim who was born in the UK, came to this country less than 10 years ago in your mid-30s to work for,
And he's still more American than you.
for Al Jazeera. Okay, is there anyone who seriously thinks that Mehdi Hassan is American at all, much less as American as anyone
Yes, he holds American values way more strongly than you do.
else?
So Michael, an interesting
Can
point
Mark,
here.
can Mark be telling the whole story with his face, boy?
See, America remains a Christian-dominated country, so the sound of, church bells ringing to encourage people to come to a Christian.
Y'all, I wore this thinking it would keep me cool, but I'm still hot as fucking this. This is thinner than clothes, but damn, I'm still hot.
Place of worship would be very familiar up and down the country. Is there anything
Get a fucking
intrinsically
fan.
wrong with a call to prayer for the many millions of Muslims that live in America?
Well, of course, and this is no disrespect to Muslims, but the call to prayer, like all religion really, is a public kind of thing.
Oh, I need to turn the fan on. I'm hot as shit, y'all. Hold on. TJ, nah. No, I have not been wearing it since stream earlier. I had put it back on.
It changes communities. It sets standards and norms in communities. And so the question then becomes, what kind of communities do we have? What kind of communities are really American? And the fact is, we're a Christian country. I know that Mehdi Hassan was accusing Walsh's family of showing up late, but mine was here about as early as it could be on the Mayflower, and those were zealous Christian
Talking about
pilgrims.
on the
They called themselves
Mayflower.
pilgrims. And so it's a Christian country. Muslims basically did not exist in America until the latter part of the 20th century, after the major immigration reform in Hart-Celler. Mehdi makes a good point that a lot of the slaves who arrived here were Muslim because they were enslaved by Muslim slavers in Africa, but they almost all converted to Christianity. Our only real experience in America of Islam early on was the first Barbary War, when more Muslim slavers kept stealing our sailors, and ultimately we resolved that issue, but it took a little while into the early 19th century. So on the historical point, does anybody seriously want to keep a straight face and say America is just as much a Muslim country as a Christian country? Of course not.
It's a non-fucking religious country, period.
Very welcoming to Muslims, and in many ways Muslims are more grounded than secular leftists, but give me a break. It's totally preposterous, and there's nothing wrong with the people wanting to keep their religious traditions and the character of their country that's been around for 400 years.
All right, Brian, I did a bit of research into this because I wasn't even sure if at the moment if it is permitted, right? So under freedom of religion, a call to prayer isn't banned from the US Constitution. However, local councils can decide on the use of loudspeakers to broadcast it, including prohibiting it during unsociable and decibel level. In 2023, Minneapolis became the first major US city to allow the announcement or adhan to be heard of the speakers 5 times a day year-round. And in New York City, city guidelines announced in 2023 by Mayor Eric Adams clarified that mosques do not need a special permit to amplify the call to prayer on Fridays and sundown during the holy month of Ramadan. So it seems like there is a reasonable amount of flexibility already for the call to prayer. But I guess it's really about the principle. Michael arguing there that because America is so largely a Christian country, is it right that a minority, i.e. of Muslims, say 5 to 6 million Muslims, I think it is in the population of America, maybe slightly more now, should they have a right to the call to prayer to be amplified or not?
If you're asking me if Muslims should have the right to practice their religion, I think that question is beyond easy to answer. It's right there in the First
No, that wasn't the question.
It's right there. It's
that
right
wasn't the question. No, it's about whether they should be allowed to.
Religion.
No, specifically. No, specifically whether they should be allowed to amplify the call to prayer.
As long as, like I said, as long as you're in accordance with or noise ordinances, yes, motherfucker.
Cities, whatever, as they do obviously when you go to the Middle East, you hear it very loudly, quite deafening sometimes through a city. I've been in the Middle East a lot this year.
Deafening.
So it's whether
that's why he rolled his eyes. It's like, bro, it's about deafening. Stop. You have never heard people pray to a deafening extent. Stop.
Quite deafening sometimes through a city. I've been in the Middle East a lot this year. So it's whether that should be permitted or not.
I think that if it's in accordance with local laws and there's a practicing people that want to practice their religion, then that's what America is. This idea, I mean, what Michael just explained was maybe the most anti-un-American thing that I've ever heard.
You. That's exactly why I'm like, Mehdi is more American than fucking Matt Walsh for certain. And you too, Michael knows. Look at him. He finna object.
We are a Christian country. I mean, Michael, we are expressly not a Christian country. In fact, we have a whole separation of church and state.
Do you have any
right
U.S.
there in the
currency in your
Establishment Clause
pocket?
of the Constitution.
Oh
yes,
my
yes, I do
God.
have currency in my pocket.
What's it say on there?
What's saying in God we trust? Bro, God is just a universal label for whatever deity you believe in. God, it does not mean Christian God. Allah is God. Fucking Buddha is God for them. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. God is a general label for whatever you believe in most cases. It doesn't say Jesus Christ, my nigga. Stop.
What does it say?
God we trust, which was
does it say in Allah is our trust? Does it say in
Allah is God?
God,
is our trust?
Michael, I'm not going to enter into a whole theocratic debate with you,
This
but God
is
can
stupid.
mean a lot of different things
It's
to
not
a lot of different
theocratic. It's
people.
answering
Exactly.
the silly point that you just made.
And it wasn't on the currency. Nigga, we made money. Like, what the fuck? This is not only that, they act like that even in the Pledge of Allegiance, God didn't even get added till the fucking 50s. So like it just be like, what are y'all really talking about? When these founders explicitly founded this country under secularism. Explicitly did it. They were intentional. So there's no equivocation on are we religious? Just because it's a majority Christian does not mean, or that, and then some of the founders, not even every single one was a Christian, that it's a Christian country. That's why they try to be on this. The country's white because the founders are white, but they didn't make nothing in the Constitution about you being white. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just or being a man. It was all men. You have to be a man to be a part of this country. It's just like y'all fucking.
We're a Christian country. Our founder said so. The men who built the country said so.
This
It's in our national anthem.
Y'all just lying. You're fucking lying. These are just lies. These are lies. These are lies.
Having "In God We Trust" on our dollar bill does not mean that we are a Christian nation. We have the freedom of religion and the freedom from religion in this country. And the notion that because Christians view themselves as some persecuted minority or some persecuted majority in this country does not just mean automatically that this is a Christian country. I know that's a big
Hey, Brian, is Christmas a federal holiday?
Oh my God. MLK is a federal holiday. What the fuck are we talking about? Is Christmas a federal holiday? Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
It is. Is Easter a federal holiday?
And I thought I could have sworn Christmas was pagan or whatever the hell that they say. I ain't Christian. I don't know. Ain't it? Did they say it's a pagan holiday? Why would that even be your go-to? And did they say he didn't resurrect on Easter? That's not the real day of resurrection, bro.
Yes. You're not
kind of weird. We're not a Christian country. Okay, I just wanted to.
Well,
check.
We're not a Christian.
You're not making the point. You're making a different point.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in. I've just checked while I've been listening to you guys. There are just under 5 million people identifying as Muslim in the United States of America, out of a population of 340 million or so. There are 235 million people in the United States who identify as Christian, making.
What the fuck do the majority of Americans are Christian? So? Well, the majority religion in America is Christian. So? And then what it look like if you break that down into fucking different, what's it called? Not sex. Denominations. What does that look like?
69% developed population. I mean, that is, whatever way you look at it, Brian, that makes America a predominantly Christian country.
It makes a lot of Americans Christian. It does not make the country a Christian country. These are two fucking different things.
There's no disputing the numbers.
Pointing out which religious group has a majority in a country does not make that country a Christian nation, especially at the expense of some other religion. So you can point to the fact that we have.
But would you call any Middle Eastern? Okay, would you call any Middle Eastern countries Muslim?
So I wonder, as we move more and more people towards secularism, if more people identify as non-religious than do, are we going to be a secularist country? Are we going to be a country that's secularism needs to be prioritized over anything else? If you get over 50% of Americans that don't identify with any religion, will y'all say that since it's Piers? Well, fuck Piers. Michael, would you admit that?
Because they have other religions in those countries. So are they Muslim? Are they Muslim countries?
It depends what the country is and what their constitution says. I mean, our constitution expressly says that we are
exactly, and that's the point. Can I just jump in as a Muslim man, as a professor, and as a Muslim man, as a scholar of Middle Eastern studies? I think I have something to contribute here.
Didn't know Marc was Muslim. I'm not shocked, but I don't think I knew that. I think
you're ticking a lot of boxes here, Marc, to jump in. Yes.
Look, I have to sometimes. So there's a few things here. One, the definition of a religious country is being floated about here in ways that I think are unclear. If we're talking about a religious state, the United States is not a religious state. It's not a Christian nation in that way, right? Is it founded largely on Christian values? Is the culture leaning toward Christianity? Hence why we have federal holidays like Christmas off and Easter off, but we don't necessarily have off for, although now we have off for Eid as well, right? But it just depends. But in that way, yes, this is a Christian country, but the principle of this country is that there's religious tolerance and that there's religious plurality. There are about close to 5 million Muslims, and many who don't identify for various reasons, and there are about 7 million Jews. When we practice Jewish holidays or observe Jewish holidays, we don't tell people, silence your voice, silence your prayer call, silence this because it's a Christian country, and we shouldn't. We want to honor and respect the beautiful religion of Judaism and the beautiful religion of Islam and the beautiful religion of Christianity. We have to do all of those things at once. You said that historically Muslims didn't enter this country until the latter part of the 20th century. That's just factually untrue. And I think to ignore the fact, not relative to the number of enslaved Africans who were brought here, and that was Mehdi's point that I don't want to see distorted. They were forced to convert to Christianity. That's like me saying there weren't that many Jews. That's like me saying there weren't that many Jews during the Inquisition, right? If you're forced to hide, if you're forced to convert, I'm not using that as that's not a feather in your cap.
Right. That's fucking stupid. That's ridiculous. Oh yeah, the captor made her say that she wasn't being abused, so she wasn't abused, so it don't matter. Like, motherfucker, no, it's not the same thing. She still counts as an abuse victim even though she doesn't admit to it.
We're drifting away.
Enslaved Africans built this country, and many were Muslim, and many even after the era of slavery still held on to Islam, and many of them practiced secretly and silently, and even at the beginning of the 20th century with the Moorish Science Temple, with the Ahmadiyya movement.
Right, as strong as y'all feel about y'all faith, you don't think people that was forced to convert their religion did it silently or in secret? Fuck.
We're moving away. Hang on, please.
Yeah, Mark, no, stop. Why you always trying to cut Mark off when he be fucking these niggas up, bro?
Time out. You're interrupting the point of.
Thank you.
Exactly. You just every time Mark be cooking, he want to cut him off.
We're moving away from the actual question. It's not about whether Muslims have a right to practice their religion or even a historical lesson about how many...
Yes, it was. Y'all acting like... Why are you asking this question if it's not about if they have the right? Because clearly they do as long as they're not violating any laws. So what do you mean we're not talking about if they have the right? That's exactly what we're talking about at this point. What else is there to ask? Because, first of all, it was a stupid question in the first place. If they're following all the laws put in place in that place, then what are we talking about? That's exactly what this conversation is about. Because obviously you can be Muslim in America. That's not up for debate. The question you was trying to ask was, should they be able to pray in public and loudly? Yeah, as long as they're not violating any noise ordinances.
May have been slaves that helped found America. That's not the debate we're having. We're having the debate.
Michael used that info to prove a point.
That's not the debate we're having. We're having the debate that given there are under 5 million Muslims in the United States, should they be permitted to have a call to prayer of the kind that you would hear?
See what I'm saying?
All over the Middle East.
You are asking if they're allowed to do something.
You're a professor of Middle Eastern studies. He's just declared that. Do you think that would be a sensible move to enable the call to prayer to be heard across America? Yes or no?
Okay. Well, it's not a yes or no question. Some things aren't yes or no. And by the way, the diversions came from me responding to the misinformation that had been distributed. I didn't randomly go into a historical analysis of Muslims in America.
You see what I'm saying? Mark always got to let you know this is where y'all fucking up, and now I'm finna break it down.
The misinformation. All right. But to your direct.
Like you're not finna make Mark be like, you're not finna make me look like I'm the crazy person in this situation. Before we move on, you're not finna make me look like the crazy person.
Question. There should be a call for prayer because we're in a nation that is that has religious tolerance. And the call for prayer is a necessary part of the practice of Islam. It's not just that Muslims want to call to prayer. The adhan is actually part of the process of prayer. But the debate here, or the request here, wasn't for it to be declared loudly across America as you just described it. That was never the debate. No, if there are 4 Muslims in Wichita, I'm just saying hypothetically, no one's saying, well, Wichita has to have the adhan played 5 times a day. That's not the call. If there are Muslim communities and there are masajid, there are mosques there, yes, they should be able to do the call to prayer. It was never supposed to be blasted across the city. It's supposed to be blasted or played within a reasonable earshot. That's all it is. That's not what it's like in Saudi. But to give you a perfect example, as someone who spent the last 15 years or so studying in Israel and in Palestine, I can tell you that when you walk through Jerusalem and you hear the call to prayer, it's within earshot. It doesn't disrupt the people 5 blocks away or even 2 blocks away. And that's certainly an ecumenical country. And it identifies as a Jewish state, but still Muslims are able to practice their religion and have the adhan played in that context. That's all people are asking for.
All right, interesting. Jack Posobiec, what's your view of this?
Yo, Jack barely spoke this entire show. I forgot he was there.
What Mark is saying, it makes sense. And at the same time, I do think that cities and towns can vote on whatever noise ordinance they'd like. And I think the bigger question here, though, really does come down to the fact that these massive immigration of Middle Easterners, massive immigration of Muslims have come into the United States predominantly since the events of 9/11, predominantly since the advent of the turn of the century, the 21st century. And that's why you're seeing things like this, seeing questions like this come up, because America has gone down this road from open borders and mass immigration towards a new country where the demographics have massively shifted in this country since 2000. And that's why we're getting all of these questions that used to sort of be quote unquote settled science in America. Now suddenly we're having to deal with the fact that we've got millions and millions of people here.
What is settled science on a demographic on a piece of land? What is settled science about that? That was some crazy shit to say. That was wild to say.
Shifted in this country since 2000. And that's why we're getting all of these questions that used to sort of be quote unquote settled science in America. Now suddenly we're having to deal with the fact that we've got millions and millions of people here that don't share our culture, that don't share
That's crazy.
Our history, that have no connection to our founding whatsoever. And they're bringing
Muslims shooting up south of the border? Hey, los musulmanes. How does the border crisis connect to the question of the adhan? I'm trying to understand.
No, I'm saying open borders in terms of mass immigration.
From where? Where's the mass immigration coming from?
There's mass immigration from the Middle East. There's mass immigration from South Asia. There's mass immigration from Latin America. There's tons of mass immigration all over this country.
How do you think they
You
got
think
to
in the last
Dearborn?
5 years,
Mass immigration.
Go look at the guy who's running for New York mayor. Go look. This guy.
What the fuck? Oh my God.
Winning the party, winning the general election in New York because of mass immigration. This has become his leading edge in terms of the proportionality of votes that he's winning are from.
Yeah, these white people are just coding they believe in the great replacement theory, and they're just coding. They're coding all these words is just to say, I don't want to be the minority. That's all this means. That's all they're getting at. I don't want to be the minority. That's all they care about. They're scared of being the minority. They're scared of being the minority as white people.
Foreign-born New Yorkers. So you've got a guy who's going to be the mayor of our biggest city because of mass immigration. A guy who, by the way, like yourself, is Muslim and is someone who was born outside of the country. He's an immigrant himself, I think 2018. So there's no way you can say that mass immigration from these areas hasn't changed the character of America.
I was disputing the idea that the border crisis was connected because the border crisis wasn't bringing large numbers of Muslims. That's the part that I was disputing. As far as the mass immigration, if you remember. But when people say the border crisis, they're not talking about
exactly. Stop it.
About people refugees from Syria coming in, but
exactly
the extent that we are.
Yes, a lot of them do come in as refugees from Syria and Turkey and Afghanistan and Somalia. Like
nobody's thinking about any of those countries when we talk about the border crisis. Y'all literally are talking about Hispanic people. Stop with this bullshit. You're lying.
How many Syrian refugees have come in the last 5 years? How many Syrian refugees have come in the last 5 years?
Too many.
Ballpark.
Too many.
Too many. Because you don't fucking know, and if you do know, you know it's an infinitesimal, again, number.
How many? No, that's a fancy way of saying I don't know, and I just threw out something.
Yes, that's a fancy way of saying I don't know. Right.
You can point to I could pull it up right now if I want. If you really wanted to have a conversation about this, but places like Dearborn, Michigan, because places like Minneapolis are now having these policies.
Exactly, TJ. They are not going after people from Syria. They are targeting brown people from Latin America. Period.
Because of mass immigration, that's just a numbers argument. It's
because they have black and brown people there, and those things don't actually change the character of America. If we're saying that the character of America is democratic,
Minneapolis hasn't been changed since 1990 because of mass Somalian immigration. Is that really what you're saying right now?
I'm saying the character of America has not been changed. If you bring in large numbers of Somalians,
Minneapolis, Dearborn,
if you bring in large numbers of, if you bring in large numbers, say for example, of Somalians to Minnesota, and those Somalians are Muslim, then you'll see more Muslim culture and more Muslim practices happening in Minneapolis. But that's not antithetical to the character of America. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, it's actually part of what makes America America is that you can come here from Somalia and have a Somalian community. That's part of what America is. I don't even think that necessarily translates to America being like Somalia, because otherwise, what would be the point of coming over here? You know what I'm saying? But well, to be fair, I guess we do have a better infrastructure and stuff like that. But you know what I'm saying? But you got Chinatown. I'm not mad at Chinatown. You know what I'm saying? Little Italy. I'm not mad at this shit. Like it don't bother me. White people are just so scared of being the minority because a lot of us have been the minority in many circumstances, and they're scared of that because they see what happens. But the funny part is we don't want to treat y'all how y'all treated us. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying y'all as in y'all have done it personally, but it's like they know the history and they have this fear of being a minority, and it's not for no reason. But look how y'all acting.
We can all agree, probably
embracing tolerance.
I think we can all agree that when it comes to numbers, the fact that a reported 10 million people came into the United States illegally under the Biden administration was not a good thing for America, and certainly not a good thing for the Democratic Party that lost control of their border. Well, Mark, you can laugh, but actually, I think it was one of the fundamental reasons Donald Trump.
You know damn well I'm not going to agree to that. That's why I'm laughing. Piers, I'm laughing because you know damn well I'm not going to. I'm like saying, oh, and I think we can all agree that, like, you know what I mean? Like, soccer sucks. Like, I'm not going to agree to that.
Who sucks?
Oh, and I think we can all agree that, like, you know what I mean? Like, soccer sucks. Like, I'm not going to agree to that. Like, I wasn't. You said
you should agree to that. That's my point. You should.
Oh, soccer. Oh, what? Okay, wait.
I think it was one of the fundamental reasons Donald Trump's border was not a good thing. Is the fact that a reported 10 million people came into the United States illegally under the Biden administration was not a good thing for America, and certainly not a good thing for the Democratic Party that lost control.
Oh, I didn't know Mark would agree with that. I don't know how we feel about a lot of illegal immigration. I don't know how Mark felt. I personally don't give a fuck to the extent that these people do, because most of these people are not hurting us as a country. I mean, there is a point where you can't just let any and everybody come here undocumented. Of course, nobody's for illegal immigration, but that's just something that I'm not pressed about to the extent that these people pretend like it's such an issue when they benefit from illegal immigration immensely.
All of their border. Well, Mark, you can laugh, but actually, I think it was one of the fundamental reasons Donald Trump.
You know damn well I'm not going to agree to that. That's why I'm laughing. Piers, you know I'm laughing. I'm laughing because you know damn well I'm not going to. I'm like saying, oh, and I think we can all agree that, like, you know what I mean? Like, soccer sucks. Like, you know I'm not going to agree to that. Like, you know I wasn't. You said
you should agree to that. That's my point. You should agree. You should just
Piers,
say,
how could you assume that Mark would want to enforce basic immigration laws? How could you assume? That's crazy.
Let me ask Michael, before we let everyone go, because it's been a fascinating debate. Thank you all very much. But tomorrow you're appearing, Michael, before the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution at the invitation of Subcommittee Chairman Eric Schmidt for a hearing entitled Politically Violent Attacks, a Threat to Our Constitutional Order. And you said this recent uptick in left-wing violence is the culmination of years, really decades, of consistent assaults on their opponents, a free marketplace of ideas.
TJ, if you still ain't here, do you want to be a mod, bro?
When ideological bandits keep shooting up the marketplace. I'm grateful to Senator Schmidt for convening this important hearing and looking forward to holding to account the left-wing ideologues undermining our public square. So it's going to be very interesting when you give your evidence. But I guess the obvious response will be, and I can say this on behalf, I'm sure, of Brian and Mark, will be this is not just a left-wing issue, political violence or ideological violence. There are many, many examples in the last decade of right-wing violence against the left waged from an ideological political viewpoint. Why do you believe this is becoming a much more prevalent issue for the left and not the right?
Yeah, it's certainly not just a left-wing issue. You know, the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. It's a fallen world, of course. But even The Atlantic, as liberal a magazine as it gets, has recently admitted, based on a new study, that left-wing terror is predominant, has exceeded right-wing terror. And then when you go back through some of the previous studies and data sets that suggest that right-wing terror in previous years has been more prevalent than left-wing, what you find is that the way they arrive at those numbers is by not counting the left-wing terror. So we'll be presenting that tomorrow before the
I appreciate you, bro.
I'm really grateful, obviously, for the opportunity to do that. All of this comes without question in the wake of Charlie's murder, and that has led, as a silver lining, I suppose, to a national conversation on political violence.
A random
this has
black
reached
guy.
a fever pitch. And when you have left-wingers, much more likely than right-wingers, according to recent surveys, to justify political violence, it's become a real existential threat. And so I'll look forward to seeing what, if anything, the Democrat senators have to say to the facts tomorrow.
Very interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that. Thank you.
Not all y'all popping
you know,
up
Mark,
at the end of the video.
One of the most sickening things I've seen in recent times. Actually.
I swear, hey, I ain't gonna lie. Depending on, I was finna end the stream, and I probably
not just the murder of Charlie
everybody
Kirk,
popping up at the end of this video.
Given how he used to literally go into college campuses to have debate, but the way it was gleefully celebrated by people
agree on what?
in recent times, actually, not just the murder of Charlie Kirk for his views, given how he used to literally go into college campuses to have debate. But the way
wait, I missed
if anything, the Democrat senators have to say. It's become a real existential threat. And so I'll look forward to seeing what, if anything, the Democrat senators have to say to the facts tomorrow.
Very interesting. I'm looking forward to watching that. Thank you. Yeah, you know what, Mark? One of the most sickening things I've seen in recent times, actually, not just the murder of Charlie Kirk for his views, given how he used to literally go into college campuses to have debate, but the way it was gleefully celebrated by people on the left, I thought was repulsive, absolutely repulsive. And I would call that out if I saw people on the right celebrating the cold-blooded murder of a left-wing political pundit.
Not really. I don't believe you because, granted, the Pelosi's weren't killed, but you didn't condemn it. People that made fun of it to the extent that y'all care about. And yes, like I said, he wasn't killed, but dude was trying to kill them. Y'all don't care. You didn't have any outrage about Melissa Hortman's death and her husband. And people made fun of that too. I don't even think Piers did a fucking episode on the Melissa Hortman assassination. So you've been watching. It's Jay Buggin. I'm not judging you for not commenting because I understand it. I'm typically a person that watches lives and don't comment. I'm not saying like if you're watching, you need to comment. I'm not tripping off that, but it's a slow day generally. It's not your fault. I don't even have the same concurrent viewers I usually do, and it's probably because it's Friday and Halloween, so people are probably kicking it. You know, I'm not judging you, but you know, it's hard. It's harder to feel like I could, you know, do 3 hours to a very small group, you know. And Jay Buggin, don't feel like you know, it's your fault. But I appreciate you for watching because that's all I care about is people watching. You feel me? I'm not judging.
Should just be way beyond anything other than basic humanity, and that is one of them. You do not glorify
celebrating murder is always bad.
Or celebrate the murder of a young man for his views. You just don't.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think anyone should celebrate murder, political assassinations, etc. I think that it's, for me, it's a moral non-starter.
Yeah, Okay, well, let's end on a rare point of total agreement between me and Marc Lamont Hill. A moment in history, a moment to savor. Thank you all very much, guys. That was a great debate. Appreciate it. Piers Morgan Uncensored is proud.
No, yeah, y'all good, man. I'm not sitting here like, you better talk in chat if you're in here. But because at a point I was at like 13, and it was a point I was at like 20, and nobody was saying anything, and I'm like, shit, one person not gonna talk? I'm not expecting all 20 people to be chatting. But I'm appreciative that 10 to 15 people have been watching consistently, even if they're not talking. I'm totally fine with that, because the fact that you're even listening or watching for that long, whether you're talking or not, means you're engaged, and the engagement of watching is what matters at the end of the day. I was just shocked. Like, even when Watts was streaming his game the other day, he had like 30 people watching him, and nobody was talking but me, and it was just so odd. I'm like, how is 30 people in here and but just me was the only person commenting? It was just so strange. So it's nothing. Okay, so for the few of y'all in here, I could do one more. I don't want to make this all just one video. It's not going to be nowhere near as long. This is an 18 and 17-minute video. So do y'all want to see something political again, which is Brian Shapiro, which is a radio host in Las Vegas. He's part of the Unfuck America tour. He's very fierce debater against Tim Pool's stupid ass. Or do y'all want to watch another guy that's like an anti-woke guy? He's trying to make a video on a war on men in video games. So basically, I think his video is about they're trying to make video games with mostly female protagonists these days. So like he wants to talk about that, and I know he's probably gonna have some stupid ass points where the fucking thumbnail is the girl from the Naughty Dog new game, which I think is called Intergalactic. Then he got the Ghost of Yote girl, and I don't know who this other female protagonist is. Another game. So the War on Men video game video, or Brian Shapiro versus Tim Pool. So y'all can either say video games or debate, or Tim Pool gets crushed. Damn, they really hate women. It's I'm finna show y'all the thumbnail and the title. You said the Tim Pool debate. Anybody else in here want to put their 2 cents in? I don't want to make a whole poll, because I know it's only a few of y'all in here. This is the thumbnail. The War on Men. I don't know what this last game is. But yeah, he's going to talk about women in game, and he already starting off with Uncharted 4. And the other one, like I said, is the Tim Pool debate. Debate. All right. Y'all here. All right, I got y'all.
I don't hate Tim because we're both too bald.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Rabbit. All right. Damn, 720. What you doing, Brian?
I don't hate Tim because we're both two bald white brothers. I actually am enjoying this conversation, even though I've been called retarded. That's okay.
You can't do that. I'm mixed race. You can't. You're oppressing me. For the same reason that people probably support Obama murdering children. The issue
about Kamala. Name me one thing that Kamala Harris has done in her life.
Let's slow down and say the issue at hand is, we always call this the lesser of two evils, and we could take a look at Donald Trump being slovenly and perverted and whatever you want to call him, and these are bad things. And I'm like, wow, this is why I didn't vote for him in 2016. And then you can take.
But he got worse in 2024, and you voted for him.
Look at what else you're up against, and you've got Joe Biden, warmongering crony who sold out this country to his brother for Iraqi contracts and 10% of the big guy, and the list goes on. You can take a look at the extension of the Obama administration, where Obama killed tons of children. He has the record for most children murdered by a Nobel Peace Prize holder, and most notably was the extrajudicial assassinations of Anwar al-Awlaki and Abdurrahman al-Awlaki. Now you can make the arguments about Anwar al-Awlaki being a jihadi, but he was an American, and we have due process. But then you get Abdurrahman al-Awlaki,
and he wasn't on American soil, to be fair.
A 16-year-old.
Not saying it's okay, but they pretend like he killed an American on American soil.
American citizen who was at a civilian
and he got permission before even doing a strike.
Restaurant in Yemen, and Obama blew him up. And when Obama was asked about it, he said, "Oops." And so they come to me and say, Trump's a pig. And I'm like, you got that right.
Well, in all honesty, you can make mistakes while carrying out something that's legal. You know, like you can do something that's legal and a mistake can happen in the process of it. That's exactly why police officers get fucking a certain level of immunity when they're carrying out their duties. Shit can happen and then accidents can happen, but it's not necessarily because you were intentionally trying to make an accident happen. You know what I'm saying? It all depends. And like I said, Obama got permission before even doing the strike, and it wasn't even with the intent to kill the boy, but it was a byproduct of an attack on a fucking it was a targeted attack with a casualty.
So first of all,
and then I've got to choose who I'm voting for on this one, and I'm going to tell you, you know what?
And
they
that
all
don't,
suck.
like I said, it don't mean it's okay. It just happened. It's just fucked up.
Trump didn't run against Barack Obama, and I didn't vote for Barack
No, but
Obama.
Biden-
I'm not here to defend Barack Obama.
No, I'm talking
asking
about Joe
Donald
Biden.
Trump because you support Donald Trump.
Indeed,
And you're okay with supporting a pig who probably sexually abused a lot of people, who was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He was best friends.
Now you're making things up.
Found liable in a court of law.
Wait, why is that he's making? If he said probably is not making things up. He literally is telling you that I'm not making a claim. I'm guessing that he probably did this. That's not making things up. And there's reason to believe it. I don't even think Trump did. I don't even think that Trump even did anything illegal with Epstein necessarily. I don't know, but I'm not making that claim because I haven't seen enough proof of it. And I think if he did at this point, it would have been outed. But yeah, but it's reason to believe it.
Sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. His
You
own
wanna
wife.
play this game?
His own wife.
You don't want to
It's
play
not a game.
You don't
It's not
know.
a game.
You don't know the facts of the case.
Okay, well, let's talk about the 24 or
let's go.
25 other women.
No, let's do the E. Jean Carroll thing.
Okay, so
Tell
Barack
me what
Obama.
happened.
So hold on.
Tell
Barack
me what
Obama's.
happened.
I will.
No, you brought it up. Don't bring
Barack
up
Obama is a murderer, and yet he was never convicted. It never was shown in a court of law. Nothing ever proven. But you can make blatant statements, Tim.
Yeah. Retarded.
That Barack. Oh, I'm not retarded either. Okay, I'm a pretty
When a
smart
court
guy.
of law says a thing is true, that doesn't mean it's true.
Gotcha. So unproven in a court of law, but Barack Obama's a murderer, and you're totally
Barack
okay saying
Obama
that.
is
But Donald Trump never
definitively-
sexually abused anybody, even though liably found guilty in a court of law.
Let's slow.
Damn, Tim Pool wants to call Barack Obama a murderer, even though that's a legal term which has never been proven. Trump has been deemed a liable sexual abuser in civil court, and he won't accept that. That's kind of strange, Tim, especially when you consider there's multiple women that have claimed he's sexually abused them. But you won't claim that. But Barack Obama's a murderer. Murderer. That's a strictly legal term, sir. That is a legal term.
Slow down a minute. See, this
I'm
is
just asking you.
This is the issue with liberals. You don't know.
I'm not a liberal.
He's not a liberal.
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm a
Anti-Trump.
registered independent.
He's not a liberal.
You just called me a liberal. Let's be factually
Left and
accurate,
right.
Tim.
The left.
Okay, I'm not the left.
You don't know.
I didn't
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not the left.
vote for Obama. I didn't vote for Hillary
You
Clinton.
are left.
Okay.
No, he leans left socially.
Well, you can say that, and I can call you a hard MAGA right, but it doesn't
You
mean
can
that
call
you're
me
right.
too. But there's clearly distinct
So what?
factions in the culture war, and there's a left and
That man says, "So what?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm proud."
a right, which defines the overwhelming.
I don't like
umbrella.
sexual abusers. I would never vote for
Me neither.
somebody like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Well, you
You did.
did.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Yes, you did. What the fuck? He's a liable sexual abuser. If you can't admit that, then you can't say Obama's a fucking murderer.
So Donald Trump never sexually abused anybody.
Tell
so
me
the
that- tell me-
25 women lied. His own ex-wife in court
that proof?
documents
Was
in a
that-
deposition. She under oath. His ex-wife said that he raped her.
You know
Tim.
what your issue
She
is?
went into teenage girls' locker rooms without their
bad
permission.
things. Yeah, bad things.
Oh, that's just bad.
those are real
Tim Pool is so spineless.
bad. Those are real bad.
Locking the keys in my car is a bad thing. That's despicable.
So
you
let's
have a
so
daughter.
tell me the case.
That's true. They do act like that shit just light.
You have a daughter. Well,
Tell me
hold
the
on a
case.
second. I just talked about
No,
going into
you
teenage
don't know what
girls'
you're
locker
talking
rooms.
about.
I don't?
You don't.
Donald Trump bragged about it
Tell
on the
me
Howard
the
Stern show.
case.
Which case? E. Jean Carroll?
You see how Tim has no response. So now this is what Tim Pool does. I fucking can't stand it. When he has no rebuttal and some other people that be in debates do this bullshit. When he doesn't have a response, he wants to get to the nitty gritty of every detail of what's happening because he has no response. And simply because if the person doesn't know every single fact of the matter, then he tries to act like he has one up on them. Star Fox, I didn't do it on the last video, but I usually do speed up Stevie because he talks really slow. And when you speed him up just 1.25, he talks at a regular pace. That's fucking weird. But Tim Pool does this every time he's losing a debate. He wants details. And if you don't know something about it, he's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, so you can't even speak on this, and I won. He did that shit with Luke Beasley. Then when he goes to look up the information and sees Luke was right, he just acts like he didn't just fucking lose his mind after Luke explained exactly what happened. He's like, what are the cases? What are the cases? You don't know what you're talking about. And Luke had a general broad overview of the situation, which was correct. And he looks it up and it was correct. And then he acts like he didn't just blow up at Luke for not having every minute detail of what was going on. Bro, stop. You don't know what you're talking about. And you're trying to press them on every little detail so you could look like you know something. Tell me the case. Bro.
King Carroll.
So
that's not the point.
You want to go through the
You said
case.
proven in a court.
Jay Buggin, but Obama, not in 3085. They go, they still, you seen what's her name? Megyn Kelly blaming Obama for the state of politics today. Like, damn, bro. The first black president caused all the problems, huh? Go figure, huh? Everything went left when a black man became president. Gee golly, wonder why.
Case, I said,
well,
tell me about
the jury found him liable.
You can't.
The jury found him liable.
You can't.
What?
The jury did. They found him liable.
Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. If you keep making non sequiturs,
what?
It is.
What? What was the non sequitur?
Is because I asked you a question, you've ignored it.
I haven't ignored it.
What was the case?
Bro, it don't matter. He was found a liable sexual abuser. If he don't know every single detail of the case, he still was found liable.
So here's what I know about the case. Okay. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Unlike Barack Obama, which you had mentioned he's a murderer, you don't want to talk about the fact that that's never been proven in a court of law. But you're
What does that have to do with what I asked you?
Because
Tell me about
he's
the
laying out how hypocritical you are, Tim, and you know it, so you're trying to stop him.
Carroll case.
Because a jury found him liable for sexual abuse. I don't have to know everything about the case.
No, you
and
just believe
present
what you're
it to
told.
you. No, I believe in our justice system.
let's do this.
I believe in our justice system.
Wait, first of all, that's a fact of the matter. Even if he didn't agree with it, it's a fact of the matter. Just like I don't agree with the ruling of Zimmerman, but it's a fact of the matter. Would they say, was he found not guilty of the murder of Trayvon Martin? I'll be like, yes. Now we can quibble over why I disagree with that verdict, but that's a fact of the matter. You can say you don't agree with the ruling of Trump being liable. You don't agree. But it is a fact of the matter that he was found liable of sexual abuse. So for this is all bullshit. This is smoke and mirrors with Tim trying to act like he has one up. Makes me laugh that these Trump apologists think his turds of mass destruction won't drop on them too. I know, right? When the red states are the most are gonna get hit the worst of all of this nonsense, you absolutely right.
Here's how I operate. I will hear a claim and I will fact check it.
Sure.
And try and.
But this is stupid. This isn't a matter of fact checking. You cannot agree with the verdict. You cannot agree. But the fact of the matter is he was found liable. You can disagree. You doesn't
Think through the facts to see if there's merit. You will believe what you're told.
So everything on the right when it comes
that has nothing to do with knowing the case. He can know that he was found liably fuck up. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm talking so much. Let me shut up.
comes to Donald Trump, there's no merit to it, even though he's a convicted 34-count felon. But those were made up. Right, sure.
What do you mean he's not?
And then
You don't even know the crime.
I don't have to know the crime
Yes,
to
you
know
do.
that a jury found him guilty
You
in
do
a
need
court
to
of
know
law.
the
You can
crime.
disagree with the outcome.
do.
I disagree.
Right, you can disagree with it, but you can't say it's not true. My favorite genre is skateboarders making fun of temple. Wait, human being, that's a thing? The skateboard community makes fun of Tim Pool? Oh my God, you have to send me like some of the best content for that. If that exists, I need to see that. I need to see that if that exists. Oh my God, please send that in I think you're in the Discord. Are you in the Discord? Or at least tell me the name of a channel that does it.
Nelson Mandela was a criminal too. He got locked up.
Hey, sometimes the justice
But
system.
that would be true though. That would be true if he was, well, he got locked up. He was a prisoner of war, wasn't Mandela a prisoner of war? But either way, if it's true, it's true. Whether you agree or not is different. That's totally different. You agreeing, but if it's true, it's true.
Gets it wrong. I think we could agree on that.
So
Gifted
Not my
hater.
type is a better
That's
defense than the
I
club
need to see that. I need to look that up.
doesn't fit, I think.
I think the question. You know what? We can just pause right here and say to everybody who's listening. I think my point is, I can tell you the facts of these cases and why I have doubts, and you don't know anything about them.
See, that's look how fucking dishonest he is. That's a totally separate conversation. I hope Brian fucking comes back with this well. You can disagree, but that doesn't change what the outcome was. So you need to, I can tell you the facts and why I think there's something I don't like, but you can't say anything. Talk about why you disagree. You're not. If Tim was smart, he would actually just go into the details and say, you know why I disagree with this verdict is because X, Y, and Z. He's sitting here saying, no, he's not liable of sexual abuse. Like, what the fuck is this?
So here's a fact. Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. You can disagree with it, but you can say incorrect till the cows come home.
What do
He
you
wasn't
mean
sentenced,
incorrect?
but he was convicted on 34 felony counts. Now you can
No, he
disagree
wasn't.
with that. Okay, you can disagree.
Name
with
the crime.
That's fine.
See, this is what I'm talking about. He did that to Luke. He was like, Luke was telling him about the fucking insurrectionists that broke into the Capitol, and I think he was like, no, it wasn't. What was the name of the case? What was the name? What was he convicted of? How much time did he do? What did he do growing up? Where did he live? Where's he from? It was like, excuse me, it was all this shit that was irrelevant. It's like, bro, they broke into the Capitol. I saw it on video. It was like, I don't know the exact charge, but the guy that broke in was convicted. And then he was like, right, this may not be exactly what it was, but Luke was just 100% right. Even Tim looked it up in real time and looked it up, and Luke was right. And he just acted like he didn't just fucking gaslight Luke into some bullshit.
The crime.
You don't have to name the crime.
Yes,
He's
you
a
do.
34-count felon.
You have to name the crime.
Okay, well,
No,
listen.
he doesn't. To be fair, Brian, I wish he did. I wish he could. It would just make him look better optically in this moment right now. Optically, Brian needs to know this shit because it would look better in as far as their back and forth optically. But on the facts of the matter and realistically, he's right. I don't need to know the exact crime that he was convicted of to know that he was convicted of 30. I don't know, like the exact terminology of the crime. You know what I'm saying? But it would look better if he did know it. But it doesn't change the fact that he was convicted 34 times.
So again, I will say it to the audience:
34
he
felonies.
doesn't even know what the charge was.
Yeah,
He doesn't.
This is all optics. This is all optics. This is optics. It's not substantive.
know who was accused of false.
But I do wish Brian had it. I do wish he had that.
I named you a few. I don't have all 34 charges in front of me, but it doesn't, just because I can't name the charges.
Wouldn't it be prudent of you to actually investigate these things before parroting them on it?
It would be better if he had that. It would.
To a large audience?
I'm not parroting them. All I'm simply
You can't
saying,
even explain what your position is.
Just because, here's
what did Trump? Okay, let me try this. Let me slow down. Why do you? What do you think Trump did wrong in that case?
You're talking about E. Jean Carroll, or are you talking about
no the business records case? What did he do wrong?
Well, falsifying business records was what he was charged with.
No, what specifically did he do wrong?
What specific?
What he falsified business records to pay off Stormy Daniels in order to hush her for speaking out on their affairs before the election. That's illegal, and the reason it got upgraded to a felony is because it was a predicate crime that led to another crime. It was like, one, you was falsifying the records, but then you were falsifying, you were paying her off, but then you were paying her off and falsified the records to hide what you did to run for president. Like it was like a multi-pronged issue. He said, "Go Dodgers." Did they win? I guess. Did they win, sir? Then they played back to back to back. That's 3 days straight.
What do you take
falsifying
issue
records? Falsifying records.
Which records? I'm asking you the specifics of what did you find that he did wrong.
Here's my point.
You don't have an answer for it?
I'm going to answer it for you.
Are you going to give me a specific example, or are you going to change the subject again?
I'm not changing the subject. We're talking about this.
So what did Trump do wrong? Say Trump did thing. Tell me.
Okay. Here's the answer that I'm going to give you. I don't know all the ins and outs of this case.
Well, then why are we talking?
See, this is optically, this is not okay. They forced Game 7. They play. What is the record right now? Is it 2-2 or what? I don't know. Honestly, I would rather the Dodgers win because I like their logo. Bro, I don't know two shits about baseball. I like logos. and I'm always root for the Sox because I'm from the South Side. So, it's 3-3. Jesus Christ, that's crazy. That's crazy. They 3-3 down. So yeah, I'm always gonna root for the Sox because I'm a Southsider and their logo is fire. I like logos. I like logos. I think the only sport I care least about, no shade wise, then baseball is like soccer. Oh shit. I said that before he sent that. Oh wait. Hell yeah, they forced. Did I say it before he sent that? Man, shut up. It don't matter. You know what the hell going on.
Here's what I do know. Regardless of what your opinions are on the case and what you might think are valid, that he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, the lore is fire too with the Dodgers too. That the lore is fire with Jackie Robinson. That's the only. I have a Jackie Robinson jersey too, so I got the jersey for Jackie, not necessarily for the Dodgers, but you know the LA cap is a staple as far as fitteds go. You know the LA is a must have, but I definitely went and got a Jackie Robinson jersey too. So that I ain't never gonna root against the Dodgers unless they going against the Sox. That's probably the only time I will ever go root against the Dodgers.
You might think are valid that he never sexually abused a woman. Here's the bottom line, whether you like it or not. A jury found him guilty on 34 counts that you obviously disagree with. Whether I know the ins and outs of the case is irrelevant.
Yep.
The fact of the matter is that he is a 34-count felon. The fact of the matter is that he's
yeah. See, that's the truth. The fact, like as far as substance, that is the fact. That's the conversation. Tim Pool is looking for optical wins and not substantive wins, because if he really wanted to dunk on Brian right now, all you got to do is bring up details about the case that you want to argue over. And if Brian doesn't know them, you would look better in the conversation. But you're just talking about Brian doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. You're not providing any information, sir. You're not providing any information.
Liable sexual
Are you going to do
abuse.
I hope he does.
Actually, in order, so this is actually legally distinct to be.
He wasn't sentenced. I understand.
Therefore, he's not a felon.
I understand that.
There has to be the final.
I understand.
Right, so he's not a felon.
I've said that multiple
So we agree
times.
he's not a felon.
Okay. The reason why he wasn't sentenced is because he won the presidency.
Well, it's under appeal, actually, and it's been over a year since the.
Well, it being under appeal doesn't take away what happened yet. He has to win the appeal, sir.
Appellate court was prepared to issue their
I'll tell
ruling
you
and
what.
hadn't done it.
If he wins his appeal, I will come on the show and I will say, Tim, I was wrong.
Exactly. He didn't win the appeal. Well, it's not even that you were wrong. It's that the situation changed. It's not even that you're wrong because he, as of now, he is convicted. But you're not wrong. It just he appealed it.
No,
right.
Hold on. We agree, though. He's not yet a felon until he's sentenced.
He wasn't sentenced. I've said
He's
that
not a
multiple.
felon.
I've said that multiple times. A
Agreed.
jury convicted him on 34 felony counts.
Of what?
Again, there you go back again, trying to quiz me on what the.
He said, on what? I mean, like I said, yeah, it does. It pains me because I know Brian. The point is he's still right, but I think Brian doesn't want to try to say what the counts are because he doesn't know the correct terminology. I don't even know the exact terminology. I don't know the exact name of the count, like off the top of my head, but I know what he did. I know I could explain what he did, but I don't know the correct term of it. But I'm also not a fucking debater pundit. You know what I'm saying? So if I was going on these platforms, I probably would make sure that to be fair, like Brian should have too, because Brian loves to debate. And generally he's good at it, but he should have. I get maybe he didn't know where the conversation was gonna go. I don't know, but he should know the exact term because I think all the counts are the same counts. They're all the same counts. It's just 34 times.
Here's my point.
So you really only need to know one term. I'm almost certain that all the counts are the same.
I don't.
That's the only point.
I don't know why you're here.
I don't know what you mean.
We're not
that's
debating.
some bullshit.
Okay, well,
like a debate's like this. Donald Trump did a backflip, and here's why it was wrong. Well, actually, backflips have been long protected. I'm saying Donald Trump was accused of these specific things. And you say, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, then we're not having a debate.
No.
You're just saying I read in the news Trump was convicted, and I say, okay.
Okay, well.
It's important to drill down because then you can compare it to other similar situations and whether people have been charged by that, and then that's the way that you can suss out whether it was lawfare or something
indeed,
unusual.
But even
okay, so every fucking count is the same three things. It's three things. Wait. Hold on. Let me see something. I don't know the exact term. That's why I'm looking it up. He faced 34 criminal charges of falsifying business records in the first degree related to payments made to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 presidential election. So it's pretty much falsifying big business records in the first degree. I'm certain that's what that is. Excuse me. But he got so many charges of other things. So it's really it's falsifying business records. That's what it is. So just while we're here, the other counts that he would have been oh, well, yeah, at least his charges is without prejudice. I know Jack Smith did that shit. So the falsifying business records was what he got the 34 counts of. 40 fucking counts of mishandling of national security documents is the fucking Mar-a-Lago documents case. Then the attempting to overturn the 2020 U.S. presidential election, there was 4 counts of that. And the racketeering to overturn the 2020 presidential election in Georgia. Yeah, that was crazy. He was on the fucking phone talking to the Secretary of State like, you know, yeah, just find me the votes. You know what I'm saying? Awesome. Damn, that nigga, wow.
Even outside of that, it's that when an individual is convicted of a crime, it is prudent of a society to analyze whether or not this is a legitimate use of the judiciary, of our legal system.
So you don't like people that accuse other people of things.
And the point I'm making is, I don't believe law dictates morality. I don't believe just because something is legal, it is correct. And I don't blind.
But that's not the conversation you're trying to have. You're trying to optically try to dunk on him, but this is totally separate than the fact of the matter that he's a liable sexual abuser or that he's been convicted of 34 felonies. That is a fact of the matter, whether you agree or not. And you're refusing to agree to the facts of the matter to try to act like you're trying to speak on morality. My nigga, you didn't bring up nothing about morals.
Trust when an authority figure says, trust me, this person's bad. That's why I oppose the death penalty, because there's going to be some authority figure says, you don't need the facts of the case, kill this man. I'm going to say no. So in the issue of Donald,
that was extreme. I think that's part. I've been the more I think about it, I do think I lean more against the death penalty. But yeah, this is fluff.
Trump in New York, he was not actually legitimately charged under any crime, and it's unprecedented in U.S. history. Trump was charged under 34 counts of
Wait, why are you saying because it's unprecedented, that means it's wrong necessarily? Like, if you, like, something can be unprecedented and it can be good, bad, or neutral. But whatever your take on it is, you would have to substantiate it. Don't just say it's unprecedented. If I was to say what Trump is doing as a president is unprecedented, I would state why I'm saying that as a bad thing. I would have reasoning behind why it's not good. There's very good evidence to show why Trump has had unprecedented things happen to him. It's not just because. Do y'all think that people just come into Trump because, we don't like him? It's like, no, we don't like him because he's doing this shit. The reason Trump has been fucking to court so much and is tied up in litigation to this extent more than any other president is because he does illegal shit. And he's been convicted of the legal shit. So come on.
Demeanor, falsification of business records with no underlying crime.
It was an underlying crime. It was to fucking pay off Stormy Daniels to hide what he did before the presidential election. What do you mean there was no underlying crime? That's exactly why it got upgraded to a felony. That's exactly why. It's because it wasn't just falsifying business records for the sake of nothing or to save money or something. It was for another fucking crime.
Then said, okay, I guess, upgrade it to a felony. Everybody said, well,
see, this is dishonest. And I don't, Brian's probably, because he probably don't know that. Literally the reason it was a felony is because it was a predicate crime. I'm finna show y'all. So, Donald Trump's charges in New York were classified as felonies because prosecutors alleged he falsified business records with the intent to conceal or commit a separate underlying crime. Under New York law, falsifying business records is a misdemeanor unless it is done for the purpose of hiding other illegal acts, which elevates the charges to a felony. That's why it's more than a misdemeanor. The underlying crimes that the prosecutors focused on were violations of New York State election law and federal campaign finance laws. The specific legal theory was that Trump and others engaged in a conspiracy to unlawfully influence the 2016 presidential election by arranging hush money payments to suppress negative stories such as those from Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal that could damage his campaign, falsely recording the reimbursement of these payments as legal expenses in the Trump organization's business records to conceal their true nature. That's why it was a felony and not a misdemeanor. If he was just falsifying business records to save money, that's not the same as falsifying business records to conceal another crime, which he violated New York's campaign laws. That's why it's a felony. So stop. So Tim is either ignorant or fucking lying.
Hold on a minute. This is why it's currently an appeal. Because Trump was never actually charged with the underlying crime required for an aggravated charge. It's never happened before.
So
it's never happened before.
Let's just say you're 100% right and I'm 100% wrong. Let's just assume that for a moment. I'm not quite sure, but let's just assume that for a moment. I was talking also about the moralities of the case, and you were asking me about E. Jean Carroll. And while I don't want to go into the details of that case, I wasn't there.
You don't know either.
Okay, but he was.
I do.
Again, it goes back to what I said earlier.
What was he
Tim don't know shit.
Of doing?
He was found liable for sexual.
What does that mean?
The
What
judge
did he do?
characterized it as rape, as penetrating her with his fingers. A jury found that he was liable. Now, I wasn't there. You weren't there. But here's what I do.
What year
know.
did it take place?
I don't.
See, why is that relevant? Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant? He was not charged criminally. He was charged civilly. That's why the year doesn't matter. That's why the year doesn't matter. Why are you asking what year it took place? Why is that relevant? It don't matter if it was 1923. It don't matter if it was 2023. It happened. He was found civilly liable. Why are you saying what year did it take place? It doesn't fucking matter.
It was many years ago, but
30 years ago.
But the point is, he has a track record with how he has treated women from a moral standpoint.
How is that relevant to the fucking?
Let me ask you this question: how was it that E. Jean Carroll was able to bring a case 30 years after the fact?
It wasn't a criminal case. It wasn't a criminal case. So why is you asking that? Why are you asking it? It's not a criminal case. So why does it matter? It don't matter. It don't matter. It was civil. You can't tell nobody when they can bring up a civil case. You can't.
You're asking me how?
It's very important to the case.
Okay, well,
it's actually a key component.
No, it's fucking not. Not in a civil one.
So by your argument, Bill Cosby's never raped anybody before.
I asked you a question.
And by your logic, because it was 30 years ago, it couldn't have happened. Why are you asking me that?
You're changing the subject again.
You're asking me 30 years.
I think the issue is you're so ignorant on these issues.
I don't think I'm ignorant at all. I think you're.
So then, what was the pretext?
You're unwilling to put any responsibility on Donald Trump for anything.
What was the pretext? Trump is wrong. Trump is bad. We've already agreed. He's done
wrong and bad and illegal are different things.
So let's and this is a liability case, not a legality case, not a criminal case.
Sure.
So
exactly. So why the fuck are you asking him when did it happen?
Pretext by which the case came about is extremely important in law, and I'm asking you the details because you don't know. I presume you don't know, and that's why you hold this position.
Okay, all I said to you, and you want to quiz me on these cases, but
I don't know
exactly. When you quiz people on things, is because you're insecure. Quizzing people on something. Now, asking a question isn't necessarily like a bad thing. The Socratic method isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like asking questions isn't bad, but he's trying to quiz him. Quizzing people on a topic means you're insecure about how you feel about it. You want them to say something so you can rebut it if you think you have room to. You want to keep asking him things to see if he either A, knows something so you can ask another question. If he does know the answer, you're going to ask another question, which is what Tim is doing right now. Or if he doesn't know something, you're going to pretend like you're more informed because you asked them something and they didn't know the answer, even though you're not giving up any information yourself.
You're talking about.
Tim, is he a liable sexual abuser? Yes or no?
No.
See, so that's some bullshit. Like, legally, yes, he is. You don't have to agree with it again.
Not a felon. He's not a liable sexual abuser.
Oh, well, actually, let me clarify. If I get 3 guys to come in here with badges on and they say you're a rapist, are you a rapist?
If I'm found liable in a court of law, I could be liable for...
Exactly. It ain't no 3 guys. That is not the fucking point. Tim is trying to act like he's on some new level of thinking like, yeah, if I could get some people from the law to say that you did something, then you did it. No, none of us, nobody, no normal person would agree to that. Be like, hey, police, come in here. Call him a sexual abuser. You're a sexual abuser. Oh, everybody. No, obviously we care about the criminal justice system playing out correctly. That's what it matters. That's what matters. Now, you can disagree again, but stop acting like it's just about getting people to agree and it's all people of power. If you got Trump, Vance, Bondi, Noam, Rubio, and Miller to all point at somebody and say they're a liable sexual abuser, I wouldn't just be like, well, they said it. No, Tim, nobody believes this. Things have to play out in the criminal court system, and that's when we agree. That's the general consensus of how people agree what is legally right. Doesn't mean it's moral or necessarily the truth of the matter or the fact of the matter. Well, no, it is the fact, but the truth, the underlying truth of something actually happening, you can disagree all day. Talk about that, though, Tim. Don't just sit here and act like we can't agree on what legally happened already.
sexual abuse.
I mean, what
I'm pretty sure if 3 cops came in here and it was presented in a courtroom, my attorneys would defend me. And
what if I paid? What if I paid off a judge?
Oh,
And I
so
said,
you're saying Trump paid off?
No, he wouldn't just let him crack. He would spread them so wide that fucking flat earthers would believe it. Like, it's just like it's more than just letting him crack, bro. Like, he would let him scat. He would do scat with him. He would scat play with him. I'm sorry. Like, it's just crazy to let these people go through to like as much. I think Joe Biden is the best president in my lifetime. I would never defend him to this extent. The shit that I didn't like that he did, I have no problem talking about it. But you're not gonna make me pretend like everything he did was bad. But the way these people run defense for Trump is just, it makes me fucking sick.
I'm
no,
sorry.
I'm not. I'm asking you a question to
That's not a
understand your
non-sequitur.
moral worldview.
That's not a non-sequitur.
I'm asking you a question to determine what your moral worldview is.
Sure.
You keep changing.
But you talking about moral world? You say he's not a sexual abuser. That's a legal term. That's not a moral claim to anything. Yes, he is a liable sexual abuser legally. You want to talk about morals? Have that conversation.
The subject of interrupting when I ask these questions.
Apologies. Go ahead.
If a judge is bribed and finds you
bribed, you don't have any proof anybody was bribed.
Liable of rape, are you a rapist?
If it's proven that a judge has been bribed, then obviously you would
Exactly. You don't have any proof of a judge being bribed. You see how he tries to throw that into the conversation, but it's not relevant unless you just want to make a hypothetical, which Brian is still consistent. If that's a hypothetical question, he's consistent because, well, if we can prove he's bribed, then actually no, that's not true.
Probably went on appeal, right?
Exactly.
What if the judge brought the case illegally?
Is that right? Is that fair?
Well,
exactly.
Perhaps you would. I mean,
right.
The question was...
You can't answer it because Brian's being consistent.
Would you be a rapist? Would you consider a person to be a rapist if a judge was paid off to do it?
Not if it's proven that a judge was paid off.
See, if it's proven that he's paid off, then that's totally different. That is a totally different circumstance if it's proven he's paid off. But you're saying that you think you're going to catch him up. But no, this is consistent. You have to prove it in the court of law. And until you can prove that there was some malpractice, or I don't know if that's the word, if some illegalities happened on, you know what I'm saying? If something extrajudicial happened on with the case, then that's different.
We don't know.
Was the judge paid?
We don't know. So you can't just dismiss it because you can say that about every fucking thing on earth. We don't know. So I can't just say it because we don't really know. Tim, what the fuck? You'll never know something unless you're there for the experience from A to Z. You'll never really know something except for everything you've experienced personally. You're right. I don't even know if dudes will defend their wives to this extent. They'll take you know what, Terrence, you're right. Niggas will take a chance to take a shot at their wife more than they'll fucking criticize Trump. You know, you talk with your guys, man, you know, my wife, you know, man, when she leave the fucking shower head pointed in the wrong direction, you know, that should be pissing me off. They wouldn't even go that far for Trump. They wouldn't even say something that minor for Trump.
Paid off?
In this instance, we don't know. I'm just asking, in a circumstance where a judge it's not a legitimate ruling, if it's a ruling itself,
I'm answering your
lacks
question.
merit.
I'm answering your question. If it's proven, obviously,
Okay.
that if a judge is paid off, then obviously.
What if a judge brought the case illicitly, meaning it wasn't actually able to be brought into a court, but he did anyway?
Okay, so
But if that's the case, then it probably wouldn't go anywhere. Wait, judges don't bring cases. Why did he even say that? I just realized judges don't bring cases. Why is he saying that? A judge doesn't bring a case.
Bribed, in your opinion, of being illicitly.
They have to hear him.
Brought are two completely different things.
So I'm asking these questions. If a judge brought forth a case, or I should say, a case was brought to a judge that
right, because I'm like, what are you talking about?
Did not have legal merit to be entered into a court of law. And we're doing it anyway. And then said, you're a rapist.
Ain't that what Trump did? Ain't that what Trump did? He kept bringing these fucking cases that all of them fucking got put out with no standing for fucking January 6th. All that shit. Not January 6th, for the illegal, y'all know what I'm trying to say. The votes, saying the votes was rigged and all that shit.
Is that legitimate?
I know where you're going with this.
Where am I going?
And well, you're making the case that's what happened here in the E. Jean Carroll case.
I'm trying to suss out your moral worldview on when do you determine that an act of the judiciary is not actually legal?
If that's proven. If it could be proven that way.
So the court,
Yep.
You
asked me the judge question. I gave you my
The point of this is, if your argument is the very blanket, a guy said a thing, we can certainly agree a guy said a thing. If the question is, did Trump, in a legitimate setting, face these claims and convictions? The answer is no, and I can break it all down fact by fact, detail by detail. Specifically with the E. Jean Carroll case, there's numerous factors as to why this is meritless. Notably, that the New York State legislature passed, it might have been, I think it was the state, passed a law allowing claims beyond the statute of limitations for a period of 1 year to be brought up for civil action. The only person who picked it up was E. Jean Carroll, and then it disappeared. This is lawfare. Additionally, E. Jean Carroll's story made literally no sense. She claimed to have been wearing
Yes, it did.
clothes that didn't exist. She claimed
She had the exact clothes in the court that he didn't want to run to get his DNA tested on. Hold up, wasn't Tim and a few others paid off by Russian companies to push certain narratives? Yes and no. It's not that blanketed. So what happened was there was a Russian company that was Tim was already pushing Russian propaganda. That company reached out to Lauren Chen and her husband, who they knew what was going on, and they got Tim Pool and Lauren Southern and Benny Johnson and them on board to start Tenet Media, and they were already doing what they did, and they were getting paid a ridiculous amount of money to just be a part of Tenet Media, and they were paid to keep pushing their Russian propaganda. Tim Pool, to be fair, like people like he was pretty much a victim and he got conned, but I think it's fair to argue that I'm sorry, let me say allegedly this is what happened, because I don't know what Lauren Chen disappeared after this shit came out. I don't know what's happening right now with the court case. I should probably look into that one of these days. I might take the time to look into where that stands today. But allegedly she got put onto this and put them on. But to be fair, Tim, Lauren, Benny, I think Dave Rubin, they were pretty much victims of it, but it doesn't change the fact that they were still noticed by the Russians like, let's give these people some more money. They fucking with us. So it was just kind of like y'all were doing their dirty work and then y'all ended up getting paid to do it. So that's really how it transpired. It's not that they knew that Russia was paying them necessarily, or at least the evidence doesn't say so at this point in time.
to have access to rooms that she did not have access to. And Trump, the most famous man in New York, instead of going into his hotel across the street from the Bergdorf Goodman, went into a crowded building where there was no one for this one period for no reason. None of it made sense. She did not have access to. And Trump, she claimed to have been wearing clothes that didn't exist. She claimed to have access to rooms that she did not have access to. And
what the fuck? Says who? What? How you don't have access to a fucking department store or in the fucking changing rooms of them?
Trump, the most famous man in New York, instead of going into his hotel across the street from the Bergdorf Goodman, went into a crowded building where there was no one for this one period.
Who said it was a crowded building?
For no reason. None of it made sense. And
he's just fucking putting all of his own thoughts into this situation. Like you're just like making it sound ridiculous, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
We can sit here and say, well, that story is certainly strange, but why did she claim to have clothes that didn't come? Why would she claim to wearing?
Yeah, for sure. He was still paid by a shell company. That's irrefutable at this point. What's good, James?
Clothes that didn't even exist at the time.
TJ, what information are you talking about exactly?
A specific dress that wasn't released until years later. More importantly, she didn't have a key to that room, nor did Trump. And she also said the Bergdorf Goodman, one of the busiest stores in New York, had no people in it. So you then say, I find that all to be credible. Okay. And the New York State legislature passed a law allowing her to bring it.
I never said that.
So why would you agree with this stuff?
The only thing that I said, Tim, was that
Tim just made it sound ridiculous. And he fucking lying about a lot of the shit that happened with the case.
Is a liable sexual abuser. Now, we could have disagreements on whether you think it's credible or not. I asked you the question very simply.
And exactly, that's what I'm saying. Tim is avoiding that part. He said, is he a liable sexual abuser? And he's trying to say, oh, no, he's not. But yes, technically he is. You can, if you want to disagree on the merits of the case, have that conversation. But don't sit here and act like he was not found liable sexual abuser. Oh, yeah. Exactly, TJ. It's like Tim knows everything, but the jury, they ain't know shit. The jury ain't know shit. The jury didn't know shit. Mind you, Trump just went in and tried to appeal the defamation case against E. Jean Carroll and fucking lost. I think that speaks volumes, too. Trump just went in and he tried to appeal the defamation case and lost. He's ignoring that part, huh? Fuck that. That don't matter.
And here's my worldview on government. I think when government makes claims, they have to prove it. And if they can't, I wouldn't do it. So when I see a guy who's clearly innocent on death row.
Like I said, I don't agree with the Zimmerman verdict, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he wasn't found not guilty of the murder of Trayvon Martin. Like, I won't say that George Zimmerman is a murderer. I just cannot say that. I will never say that because it feels wrong. Yes, like I say, I think that Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin, and I do think that the verdict was fucked up. But I'm not going to say he wasn't found not guilty of the murder of Trayvon Martin. I'm not going to say he wasn't. This is stupid. This is stupid.
I don't call him a murderer. I say they have cheated an innocent man. I call him an innocent man.
But now you're saying he's innocent. You just think he's completely innocent because you want to make the fucking case sound like it's ridiculous. You good, Monique? Popping in when you can. That's all that matters.
When
the Parkland 5, right? They're innocent.
We're not arguing the Parkland 5.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He won't even say yes, they're innocent. Oh my God. Tim, it will make you look good if you just agreed to it. It will make you look good because you're calling Trump innocent when he's not, when he's legally not innocent. But he said, okay, so the Parkland 5, they're innocent too, right? Which they actually have been exonerated of the crimes they were convicted for. And you're like, we're not talking about the Parkland 5. What? Optically, just Brian, I think is messed up optically. I think Brian optically has kind of lost points in this debate. But substantively, Tim is trash. He won't even fucking say that the Parkland, was it Park? Sorry.
When
Central Park, I keep saying Parkland. Central Park 5 were innocent. We're not talking. Just say it. Just say it.
5, right? They're innocent.
We're not arguing the Parkland 5.
Okay.
My point is when you have people on death row, I oppose the death penalty, who are innocent, I won't call them a murderer. If the state falsifies evidence.
Wait, if they're innocent, you won't call them a murderer, Tim. But as far as what we're talking, you hold on to what's happening at the moment in time. There was a point they thought the earth was flat, so they say, yes, it's flat, until they found out it was fucking round. And it was like, well, the earth is not flat no more. It's that simple, nigga.
And they've done
facts of the matter change with new information.
Done this on numerous occasions to imprison innocent people. The state is the criminal. The prosecutors are the criminals.
I think here's where
and they need to be in prison.
Tim, sorry to interrupt. I think this is where our disagreement is. While we have a lot of different disagreements on, Donald Trump, whether he's a criminal or not, the fact of the matter still stands. He was found liable for something. Doesn't mean that it's credible.
He will not address it. He will not address that fact. Just admit that he was found liable. Then you can disagree on if you agree. You can talk about why you disagree.
I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying here.
No. So I clarified that point. The difference between us is you trust government. I don't.
Oh my fucking God! You trust Trump government. You believe you think he's innocent for whatever reason. You believe anything he fucking say. You believe anything he fucking do. So you don't. You trust government. I don't, nigga. You get out and walk the streets every day. Eat the food provided to you. Do whatever drugs you may do. I'm not saying he does drugs, but whether he vape, smoke, drink, whatever the fuck. All that shit. You trust all that. You trust the clothes you put on your body. You trust the school you drop your kids off to if you take them to kids. But if you take them to school, you trust the hospitals to take care of you. Stop with this I don't trust government shit. Stop this stupid shit. You don't really believe that.
I don't trust government 100%.
But you trust them enough to convict people.
Here's what I
don't.
But why is he pretending like convictions mean absolutely nothing? Because if you agree with it, you don't have a problem with it.
Here's what I will say, Tim, okay?
And that's fine.
Here's what I will say, Tim, and then, I'm sure you want to move on to some other stuff. But I don't always trust government. All I'm simply saying is I gave you my moral
government
spiel.
said so, and you agree.
Well, it's not just about government. It's about his behavior. It's about the things he says. It's about the things he does. I think it's an embarrassment.
I think you're emotionally offended by Trump as a character. So you're willing to entertain illicit government action because you don't like the man.
No, I think there's a lot of reasons why I don't like Donald Trump. There's a policy standpoint of it, and then there's the moral standpoint of it.
What other policies don't you?
Atrocious human being, okay? An atrocious human being. I think maybe we agree on that. I don't know.
This is the distinction.
Joe Biden's a really bad guy.
No, I wouldn't say that.
He's not a bad guy.
You said you've just changed.
Good father, good husband.
Mm-hmm. He is a great father.
Having unprotected sex with a porn star 2 weeks after Barron is born, that you think that's a good father?
I don't think a single action could define a man who's got great kids who have been very successful. I think people are neither absolutely good or...
His kids being successful doesn't necessarily mean that he was a great father. I'm not saying I'm not judging him as a father because I truly don't know. I know he's done shitty things as a husband. As a dad, I have no idea. But his kids being okay. Well, actually, no, because two oldest are shitty. Barron doesn't do much. He's not in front facing. But fucking Eric and Don Jr. are pieces of shit. So I at least publicly, they're pieces of shit. So I don't know what type of defense he thinks this is. Billionaire has successful kids. Wow. Exactly, human being, right? Like, he's great. He's raised some very successful kids. I mean, can they fucking fail? Shit. Can they fail?
Absolutely evil.
You know what's funny, human being? Contrast, it's weird because you call his kids successful, especially Don and Eric, and they get on television and act like pieces of shit in front of the world. And this is a billionaire that honestly didn't get it out of the mud. Like, if you're gonna be honest, let's not pretend that Trump made money because he made it getting it out the mud. I think that's a big reason he's been bankrupt so much. Then you look at people like Obama's kids who aren't front-facing, they're not looking for fame, and even Hunter, who was a fuck-up. Hunter Biden's a fuck-up. And I think that in relation to normal people, Obama kids and even Hunter Biden is more relatable to the most Americans. Most people can relate to Obama having kids that, you might catch them smoking at a party, or then they're just kids being kids and experimenting and shit and dressing different and not looking to necessarily be famous and in the spotlight. Or a kid that fucks up and gets addicted to drugs and shit. I'm not saying it's okay with Hunter, with his actions is okay, but it's more akin to an average person's experience than growing up with a dad that gives you fucking I don't know how much $400 million or however much money it was, that you're just, you really can't fail. You know what I'm saying? Joe Biden or Obama weren't rich before being president, not saying they didn't have no money, but like the type, they had more money than the average person, but especially after being president, they accumulated more, especially Obama. I don't know, Joe Biden, shit. I hope he make it as long as he can. But Obama, he really made money after being president because of his charisma. So it's just funny that he says these successful kids, but they wouldn't say that about Obama's kids. I find that interesting. I do find that. Well, I mean, they're younger. So they still young adults. So we'll see. He is the prime definite failing up. Facts. That's a fact. Definitely the definition of failing up. Trump's nasty behind said he would hang his own daughter. He said he would hang her. Oh, I'm assuming you meant bang. Yeah, that weird shit. You talking about you got sex in common with your daughter and shit like. That shit was crazy. And here in the real estate empire, you just have to exist. Yeah. It's like you have to try to fail with the type of money he got. You know what I'm saying? So, and he clearly behaves as somebody that's never been told no. He literally, like, think about it. He's literally exactly what you don't want to happen when you're rich and have a child. That's why 50 Cent don't fuck with his son, because he doesn't appreciate shit. And that's exactly how Trump is. Like, he doesn't know how to behave when he gets told no. And that's why I'm not mad at 50 Cent for not fucking with his son. People act like people probably give 50 Cent a little leeway, but as a parent, I think any parent would understand, like, if you have a child that's just a piece of shit, it's like you can't be guilted into being like, that's your child. It's like, bro, I've done what I could. He even tried to have him start his own business so he can actually feel like he's done something. But if your child is going to be ungrateful and a piece of shit, what can you do at this point? It's sad. I'm sure he probably will have it another way. But I'm not mad at 50 for not fucking with his son. He's a fucking grown man at this point, and it's like, man, I was getting $5,000 a month or something. Well, I forgot the number, but it was way more money. I mean, granted, when you in New York, that don't go as far. But nigga, move somewhere else. Get it out the mud. You feel like your dad made it. You feel like you're entitled. And that man even tried to help you start a business, and you didn't fucking do it. So I don't know how much you can do after that, because even with your father having the money he had, he still was giving you a leg up and you were ungrateful for it. That's different. That's different. because you still damn near a nepo baby, but you at least was gonna have to work for something, and you didn't follow through. So I'm sorry. You're gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna be rich as 50 Cent's. Whatever success you have at this point is cause you 50 Cent's son. It ain't cause of your own merit. That's why I fuck with Joe Budden. He don't use his name to prop up his son's rap career. His son is doing it on his own.
Varying degrees of whether someone could be good, bad, or otherwise. And Donald Trump has certainly done things that knock him down a peg or two and bring him down to the lower tier, but he's done a pretty good job with his family, indeed. I mean, look at the success they have. His kids are well-adjusted, successful individuals.
These fucking assholes.
Yeah.
C'est la vie, I suppose.
Even Hillary Clinton.
His kids are well-adjusted, successful individuals.
Lives, yeah.
C'est la vie, I suppose.
C'est la vie. Hunter Biden, c'est la vie. Fucking do crack, get with hookers, c'est la vie.
Even Hillary Clinton on the debate stage said he's a good father.
This weird, like, puritanical argument doesn't work on me. I'm not a conservative.
I didn't say you were.
Right, so when
He never called him a conservative. What the fuck is he talking about?
Hey, Donald Trump banged a lot of people. I'll be like,
right, this ain't even about conservatism. It's just about, like, Trump is a piece of shit. It's not about if you're a conservative. Whether you're a conservative or a liberal, some of the shit that Trump has done is kind of disgusting. What's good, PTJ?
Certainly did.
I just don't think he's a very good person.
That's the narrative context of all this, right? Because the big thing the Dems blamed Hillary's loss on in 2016 was that she was accused of being a felon. And they thought that made a big difference. And it did make a difference. But they thought that if they could throw that felon label onto Trump, then there was an opportunity to get that to do the same thing that happened to Hillary. But they don't realize there were a lot more intangibles under that besides the felony accusation, which is why Trump was able to spin it as outlaw. And also the law is important. I think I agree, like, the law is important, which is why it's so important that we, like, really suss out whether there's political lawfare, because that undermines the whole trust in the entire legal system, and then you just have chaos.
Hey, yo, cut the cameras.
Said a bunch of nonsense. All right, y'all. I'm sorry, PZJ. You seem like you just got in here, and I'm finna end it, Joe. But I appreciate any and everybody that made it to this point of the stream, man. Should have the VODs on this up throughout the week. Make sure y'all follow my gaming channel if you like gaming stuff. I'm about to go watch Welcome to Derry. Oh, yeah. I might watch that, but I don't know if it's good to watch before I go to bed. But I might. But, yeah, I appreciate y'all, man. If you like gaming stuff, yes, human being, thank you. You be so engaged. I appreciate you for joining the Discord. Appreciate you. Don't be afraid to, you know what I'm saying, hop in, converse whenever. House Full of Dynamite was good. What's that? Is that something scary? But, okay, sorry. Thank y'all. If you into gaming stuff, I'm finna start uploading videos, and I'm streaming more gaming stuff on my Logic's Lens channel. That's in the description of all my videos, probably in this live too. If you into gaming stuff, follow that too. I do gaming video. I'm gonna start posting gaming, me playing games, live stream of games, and gaming news. That's why I started it on. Follow that. Appreciate y'all for here. If you like Twitch and you prefer Twitch, go to Twitch. Follow me on there, Logic's Lens, where I do gaming stuff. If you made it to this point of the stream, man, make sure to leave a like, comment, sub. If not one, then all three. And I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.